Hello everybody and welcome to Lotus Fire Showroom. My name is Pyrus Matt, not the headset. My name is Pyrus Matterburst and we are live today with... You're the volume. My name is Pyrus Matterburst and we are live today with... this game, Tales of Vesperia.
You didn't say with my wife.
I didn't need to. You interrupted me like twice.
I only interrupted you once! And that's just because I heard the volume and I went, oof, that's loud.
Yeah, and then I went... My name is... And then you went, turn on the volume. Anyway, Ada's here.
Hi.
Oh man, I wonder if I'm subscribed to myself.
You can't do that.
But it says I am. See, I have access to all my emotes.
Yeah, you're like automatically subscribed to yourself, but you're not a subscriber.
It says I have my endless... I have infinite subscription.
I love how Little Witcher keeps asking me to charge the phone. But the thing is that the phone's usually at like 50%. And he's like, it needs to charge.
Oh, because he sees it at less than 100.
Yeah.
Good luck, a-loo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
He used to let it die and then ask me to charge
I
it.
don't know if it was live. What if Numui's live? Someone's playing 80s too.
Where am I chasing these people to? There we go.
Ew, you can see my computer screen.
Can we?
Yeah.
Oh. You want to fix it?
It's not that bad. I will just not go on Facebook.
Yeah. Why are you on Facebook when we're streaming?
I wanted to text my sister and be like, hey, look at these designs.
Oh.
Hey, wait!
What? What? Oh.
I don't have the...
That's right, I never did one.
No, we...
I keep avoiding it.
Oh, wait, maybe I can find it. And this one's a little more popular than the last.
We've got to get that case back.
Yeah, there's that too. Guilds don't take kindly to backstabbing cheats.
That's right. He couldn't just cross the mountains.
Why are they here 7 times each? Nope.
Alright, let's get him.
Do you think the Colosseum will be okay?
They don't even have Patty in this list. Fake!
What do you
I'm making my own list.
This is a guild matter after
With
all.
blackjack and
No
hookers.
place to worry yourselves over.
Sorry, Estelle, but I'm going too. I'm curious about that red case.
See, because at the end of the stream, I'm too tired. I've been getting out of making it.
Getting out of it.
Just been avoiding it. So now I have to make a tier list. What I love is that you were like, oh, you can see the computer screen. And then you went, wait a minute.
We should turn the camera a bit so it doesn't see it though.
Yeah. Turning. That was my fault because it's not straight. It was turned slightly for me when I had to use it. And then I didn't need to use it.
What just happened? Why am I...
Okay, I can't see the computer
I
screen.
thought I created a template. What does it look like? Yeah, it's okay. There's some other computer screen. Not like I'm hiding like ow.
Sorry. I need to turn so I can fix my boobs.
I'm so confused what I'm doing here.
Oh, I bought body deodorant today.
Body deodorant?
Yep.
Sounds fake.
Deodorant for the skin, so I can put them under my boobs. Without it feeling funny. Hopefully it works.
Besides, I won't feel right till I give that idiot a piece of my mind. Then
are 2 Imperial members who have important spots in the Imperial, and then the members who are Guild.
Decide for yourself.
I'll come too. If he was trying to obstruct the Knights, then this could be connected to the Empire.
Definitely.
Anyway, the Colosseum will be fine. Flynn's got a handle on
Oh yeah,
things.
we still don't have Flynn in the party.
Well then, let's get our things in order
Well,
and go
he keeps
after
coming
that
and going.
jerk.
Why do they have video games and like other like Smite's its own thing, but video game is a different I'm so confused by the categorization.
What the hell? Why does it look like that?
Ah.
Try refreshing the screen.
No, I'm allergic. I'm blah blah.
Okay.
Tails. No, it'd be there, so we're gonna go with video games.
Altosk, Fortune's Market, Ruins Gate, and the Blood Alliance. Huh, that makes us one short.
Huh? What are you talking about?
The Union's 5 master guilds. We've dealt with 4 of them, but not the last one.
No. Hey, I don't think I even knew the last one's name. Hey, Carol, what's the last guild called?
Ah, that'd be the blacksmithing guild.
Soulsmith.
The Soulsmiths.
Huh. I didn't know they had a guild for that, too.
You've probably used swords forged by the Soulsmiths without even knowing it. You've seen weapons embossed with an iron hammer, right?
What is
That's their
this?
guild emblem.
Oh, yeah. The innkeeper where I used to stay.
What
had a kitchen
the-
knife with something like that on it.
Oh, it's the okay.
What?
It's like there's a mobile game where you can collect the characters.
Oh.
The word for that is gotcha. They had a gotcha game.
Ah.
Alright, who's number 2? Repeat. If I type in repeat, I don't need to look for anybody else. I'm pretty sure they'll give me repeat. Oh, sexy.
Skip volume is up all the way. So why is the skip volume so much lower than the regular volume? This one's background. I'm turning down the background music a little bit.
How could you do this to me?
Well, it's always louder than the skip volume. It's annoying.
It's not PNG.
Like, excessively annoying.
No, I don't think it's louder.
It is.
Nah. Otherwise we wouldn't be able to hear them at all.
Half the time I can't.
Carol. Why is... Wait. This one. After Carol, Rita, after Rita, Raven.
They're all right here.
I almost forgot Judy.
Oh, except for Flynn and Pat.
The Rugaro outfit. That's great. Not Rugaro. Is that his name? Oh no.
I knew it!
Knew what? That he was brothers with Schwan?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
What?
He's totally playing both sides.
Nah, this is just it's a Pinterest. That's irrelevant.
Uh-huh. Then what about that picture right there in the middle with him in the Imperial outfit?
I don't... That maybe it's just a costume Raven has.
Uh-huh.
Can unlock over time.
Uh-huh.
See, look, they're even a separate ancient, like a separate
You've been
ancient.
trying to tell me that they're not the same person since I first said it.
I haven't been trying to tell you anything. I've been trying to tell you that the assumptions you're making are wrong.
Okay.
Judith, there we go. Don't go looking Google stuff up again.
I'm not.
You're gonna be like, Captain Schwan, Tales of Vesperia, and they'll be like, actually, Captain Schwan is Yuri, and they are in
He's
fact
not,
the same
because-
person.
Because Yuri and Swan were in the same location at the same time.
Nah,
Whereas Raven and Swan have never been in the same location.
I don't know what you mean.
Also, Raven always just magically appears.
Well, so does for other people, so does Yuri.
I'm waiting for you to finish with the tier list.
Judy, and then Flynn.
And Patty.
Some of them get cool pictures because Google wants to give them to me. Google needs like a spoiler-free option.
Yeah.
So people don't go looking up werewolves visit Derek Hale. And you spoil the entire first season for yourself.
It's just me doing me.
No, why won't you let me multi-click then?
Being a spoil sport. I'm also really not good at, like, not giving away
I want
spoilers.
all of them. I want all of them. Oh, it's a simple thing. Okay.
It's a simple thing. What's a simple thing?
Repeat is the best character. There we go. Oh, I just copied them? No.
Did you not download them?
No, I just accidentally dragged while I was trying to click on multiple things.
You're moving too quickly for your own good. It was kind of a short Granny versus Granny moment.
No, after that, Granny lost.
Yeah, but, like, I expected the fight to last longer. Can't blame me for that one.
I mean, it lasted the entire episode. I don't know what else you want me to say.
No, it didn't. It lasted, like, the first half of the episode. The rest of the episode was them talking.
Listen, episode 1 was named "This Is How Love Starts," you know, so I don't feel like maybe the episode
Oh,
names
yeah.
are to be to be
I
trusted.
forgot about that.
Here you go.
Did you set your screen to being...
Yep.
Why is my thing not updated? Twitch.
Is there a goofy goober?
There we go. Twitch is updated. Alrighty. Let's go.
You know the rules, Ada. Patty at S already?
She's fucking hilarious. You're using A.
You're
Repeat's
gonna
an
have to
A.
defend these positionings, right?
Yeah. Judith is an A. Carol is a B. Rita is a B. Yeah, he's kind of a B. One.
Okay. You can reorganize them if you think that some of them are better than others.
No, they're in the right spots. Would you like me to defend them?
Yes, now you have to defend Patty. What the hell?
She's fucking hilarious!
She's barely got a character.
Every time she's on screen, she shows up in some of the weirdest ways, and it's great. And then she did the doll, and then she
She was inside a shark
was
man.
inside of a shark, and then she's like, I know how a ship works. And Carol went, oh,
Stays like
oh
water.
shit. And then there was, like, she's just funny. Like, she's so sure of who she is and what her position is and what she's doing, and she has no problem with everything that comes her way. She's just like, oh, this is another thing, and I actually really like it. Patty is funny. Every time she's on the screen, I laugh. Which, if I'm being honest, that was my same criteria for Pascal.
Yeah, but I guess. I don't know. See, with Pascal, it's part of the character. With Patty, I mean, it's part of the character, but also, like, she has, like, they're trying to make her more serious.
Really?
They're trying, I guess. Because, like, she has a quest. She's not telling anybody about it. She's
Well,
spooky about it.
Yeah.
They
she's,
just gave
like,
us the scene
keeping-
where she was Ifree's granddaughter, so she got banned from a shop.
Yeah. But, like, she's... like, yeah, she has that kind of stuff, and obviously she's struggling with things where Pascal didn't have to struggle as much because of her status from her particular group that she's from.
The group that everybody else thought was extinct.
Yeah. But, like, so Pascal could just be Pascal. She has to face situations, but she's still herself.
She also doesn't understand what's danger and what's not,
Yeah. This is
and is delusional to think that she's going to get married with Yuri.
Yeah. I'm like, sorry, girl. No. She's great. I had way too many of those today. Yuri, I have been enjoying his character quite a bit, and I'm playing him, so he's up high.
He's going through the same like concept. He needs to start imperfect and then make his way to who he wants to be.
Repeat. He's a dog.
Oh!
That's all he needs to be.
Resound, oh cry of victory!
Oh!
Oh, he's great. He shines when he's with other people because he can't speak, right? So like,
And I love it. Judith is just a female version of Yuri, and I love their interactions.
except she hates Blastia.
Yeah. It's just great. Their dynamic is great. Those four are my top characters, and I enjoy how they interact.
They also happen to be the first, like, the three characters who have the most experience with the real world, except for Raven.
Yeah.
Assumedly.
Carol, he's a kid.
Big dreams.
Big dreams.
Little body, little talent, though.
Yeah. And, like, I don't hate him. I just...
I
don't care.
I think it's subtext that he's supposed to remind Yuri of what Yuri was like when he was younger.
Yeah. And I think the redeeming quality for Carol is Yuri picking on him.
Yuri's trying to, like, whip him into shape in a nice way. And then Judy, like... Oh, Judy's not the problem here, actually.
No. And then there's Rita.
Who has a very spoken crush on Estelle.
Mm-hmm.
And all her abilities are math-based.
Which is totally not me. I look at that and I go gibberish.
I can't read what it says.
Yeah, go ahead, take it. Otherwise, I'm gonna eat it all.
I mean, we've been going at it.
Raven, I'm interested in his character, but when he's interacting with the younger kids, I'm like, you're really playing into this
Old man.
old man persona. I'm getting tired of it. The other people who were your age and with younger kids didn't have to act like this. Why do you?
Well, because it makes him look like a bumbling old guy. Which, when he does jobs for the Dawn, you can see it makes him, like, it catches people off guard. Mm-hmm. You can get these, like, flashes of Raven kind of, like, being, not necessarily serious, but, like, scary?
Yeah, there are flashes of him being scary, and that's why he's not in the C rank, because sometimes he creeps me out. But other times, I'm like, he's just a bumbling guy, and I can see how that would be useful. It's dry blood. I cleaned it, it bled again. Every time I clean it, it bleeds, and then it dries.
Well, if it's just blood, it's not that bad, but...
Yeah, so, like, that's what that's doing is it's covering it for now.
Yeah, so no, what I meant with him being scary is like, yo, I'm an old man. My knees hurt when we walk upstairs. And then they're like, what can you even do? Why are you following us? And he's like,
Arrow.
Check this out. And he tosses something and he, like, 300 meters shoots something bullseye. Like, you're like...
Yeah, he's a marksman.
What? You're like, why do you keep pretending you can't fight then? He's like, and you're like... So there's more to this guy, right?
Yeah, there is
And when
more
you
to
learn
this
that
guy.
he's like the Dawn's right-hand man, you're like, duh.
I can't put Estelle in D yet.
I mean, what you got against her is the question.
She info dumps so much.
Not that much.
I know we need the info dumping, but it's like every scene that she's in, her eyes close and she info dumps.
That is a gross exaggeration of what actually happens. It's like maybe a quarter to a sixth of the scene she's in. It really only happens when you walk into a new area. Every other scene she's in, she's either being naive as a joke or struggling. Well, right now she's struggling with, like, how sheltered she's been.
Yeah. And I like seeing that struggle, but at the same time, she info dumps.
I think it's
and I know the info dumping is needed.
Man, I mean, in other games it was Rain that did it, or
Yeah, but the way Rain did it was funny.
They made it a joke, yes.
Yeah.
But the thing is that Tales of Vesperia takes on not necessarily a more serious role, but they tackle specifically that character's identity as innocent directly. Like, the entire character arc that she's currently going through is, I thought the world was one way, and so therefore people should only do this kind of thing. But I'm forced to, meet with people who are at a poverty, the problem with, the difference between her and Yuri is that Yuri's poor.
Yeah.
He grew up poor.
And
So,
she's a princess.
She's looking at the way Yuri sees the world, and she's like, how can you see the world this way? And he's like, what do you mean? Look around you. And when she does, she's like, crap. Down from my castle,
Yeah.
this is what the world is like.
Yeah.
So she's being tackled with the fact that, like, you have to look at the world, and she thought, you can't kill people under any circumstances, you can't hurt people under any circumstances, they will always listen to the law, no one corrupts, and then she's faced with the complete opposite. And so in that stylistic, like, that writing choice, they choose to make her innocence and her shelteredness not a joke, because unlike Rain, who goes out of her way to consume knowledge, this is all that Estelle could do when she was, like, sheltered. So instead of, like, haha, Rain's really funny because she knows everything, and, like, she'd info dump.
She goes
into ruin mode, yeah, because she sees something she hasn't interacted with yet.
Yeah.
Estelle goes with, I've never interacted with anything, but I've read about this in a book. And it's kind of like the way I see it is she's kind of like, the closing her eyes is like finding her way back to the library where she felt safe enough to, like, delve into this world.
Honestly,
right?
the way I pictured it is that she has a mind full of library books, and she is going and selecting.
Yeah,
the
if she
book.
had a mind palace, she'd probably just be like going to the book. Yes, but she's not depicted as a character that is particularly, like.
By the way, I'm gonna be stuck in this spot for the rest of the stream.
No, he's gonna move. Yeah,
No, but he's so comfy, and he's with us, and he doesn't really get the space to lie out like that. He always has to curl up and be so small, and he was over here earlier,
You're
but
hiding me.
then he moved this. No, I'm not actually.
You will when you look at the screen.
I could just do this.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. What was I saying? Like, she doesn't. She's not depicted as the kind of character, in my opinion, that, like, would do that, like, imaginary. Not because I don't think she has imagination, but because that is always usually reserved for characters that have a higher. No offense, but still, higher actual, like, intellect and foresight, specifically foresight. You see characters like Jude and Sherlock Holmes would be doing that, where, like, Jude can kind of, like, imagine going through it, remembering that kind of thing, digging through his memory.
With Jude, I didn't feel like that. I didn't feel like he had a library that he was going and shifting through information with.
Because he wouldn't visually stop to sift through it, but I think that he's the type of character that could have that mind palace concept because of scenes where you see him go, we're in trouble, what do I do? And then he stops for like 3 seconds and is like, okay, I've got a plan that is going to get us out of here right away. So it's the same kind of like...
I always felt like for him, his mind palace would be like a battle map.
Yeah,
with him doing
but like, I think that Estelle wouldn't
strategies.
have a type of, like, basing it off the Sherlock series that I've never watched. I think she wouldn't have a mind palace because it demands a certain, like, because it's a depiction that is kept for certain types of characters.
You realize we're really referring to it as like Persona sort of feels.
No, because the palaces are different in Persona. We're saying it as in Sherlock because Sherlock is the only one that has like a, to my knowledge at least. But and more importantly, another thing that kind of represents the mind palace in another Sherlock Holmes thing is in the Robert Downey Jr. movies. He does this thing that I saw Jude do, where he does the same bit where he walks you step by step through what's going to happen, right? So Jude doesn't do the step-by-step bit, but he does look around and you can see what he's going to interact with. It's kind of like the miraculous ability Ladybug does once a fight, where she just kind of like gets an item and then her thing, but she doesn't do it in her head. The scanner thing does it for her.
Actually, the thing is that that particular vision is the way that they think, because when they have Adrian do it, Adrian views it completely differently.
Oh, okay. I thought it was her visor or her power that does it.
No, it's her power allows her mind to think, and it pulls out ideas from her thinking, and it just focuses on it. Whereas when Adrian does it, it's completely different.
Yeah, he gets the Ladybug mark?
Yeah, because what happens is they get mixed up. They're in costumes that look the same, that are the exact same, and they had to take off their miraculouses, or like somehow their miraculouses ended up off, and they were in these costumes, and so their Kwamis went looking for them and found the opposite owner, and so I can't remember what they called him, but she was Lady Noir, and he was
Cat.
no, I think he was Sir Bug or something like that, or Bug.
Lord Bug. No.
I want to look it up, but I can't remember what they did. But the way that he did it, he's like, how do you do that? And she's like, I just look around and that's what it is. Like, it just triggers. And the way he did it was completely different, because the way he thinks is completely different from how Marinette thinks.
The way I understood it is her power allows her to just get the item she needs, like, right away. It creates the item that she needs to do the thing that will save her. So it's kind of like reality warping, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And then she finds the part where it connects, right?
Yeah. And so for him, it triggered, and then he's like, I don't know what to do with this. He's like, how do you figure it out? And she's like, I just sort of look around. And so, like, he looks around, but he can't figure out how to do it. And then, like, as soon as he figures out how to do it, after they're done, she's like, not what I would have done, but like, that's great.
She's like, no, you could have just...
Yeah. So she actively, like, that's when it is, that's how they explain that it's, that particular power is based off of how they think.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, for Estelle, the reason why I pitched to her with the library is from, there was this movie that I watched where, it was actually a horror movie where a majority of the characters died, but one of the characters...
I don't know. Sorry, keep going.
One of the characters, the way he thinks is a library, because he has a photogenic memory.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Which she doesn't have. But that, like, he goes looking through it, because at one point you do actually see him, because, like, it's a...
What the hell?
I think you pushed on it.
There's a hell and ghost.
Push it down. Not that.
I'm trying to get things in position before I move things. See, this is why we can't sit here all stream.
Okay. Clapper, you're gonna have to move. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I wish we had more space. No, don't fall again. Please, please don't fall.
I don't know how I had it.
I think you're right that I pushed something, but...
But, like, the way, like, you see him go into his... Because, it, like, the whole thing is, like, it's the creature that's killing them can go into their minds and become the thing that they fear the most. He goes into his mind, like, there's a scene where he's actively thinking, and like, you go into his mind, and it's just this giant library.
Get your nose off my food. Oh, no, why are we in the English?
Because it's automatically set to Canada.
Well, it's not Canada right now.
Oh, that's because I switch it.
Why would you do this?
I switch it because I can't use the Canada one.
What do you mean? You've been using Canada your whole life.
No. All of my keyboards have been English US.
Why?
Because I live on the English side.
Of the Canada!
Yes.
What do you mean?
And all the keyboards are in English US.
No, they're not. There's a completely different thing called English Canada
Yes,
that
I
all our
know.
keyboards are set into.
No.
Yeah.
No. All the keyboards I have ever used have always been in English US.
Sounds fake.
All of my schools, everything, at home, going to a friend's place,
Sounds fake.
they use English US. That's why I don't know how to use all the different things.
Anybody talking to us? No.
Like all the different keys that you know how to use, I don't know how to use them. I use what the keyboard looks like, and the keyboards are made in the US.
Except, no, they're not. Because look, if I type in this button, and, oh, wait. Oh, yeah. I don't think they're made in the US, though.
No, not all of them are made in the US, but there's a standard, and the standard was made
Why is
in
my
the
cursor on the
US.
screen? Okay.
I didn't finish defending, though.
Keep going.
So that movie is kind of like when because he will, in the beginning, before they went into the Mind Palace.
Yep.
Before he did that to beat the monster, when he was talking to his friends, what he would do is he would close his eyes and then say it. So that's kind of what I attribute to her about. Is that she's that's what it reminds me of. And like they showed him having a mind palace that's a library, and he goes in, they show it a couple of times in it, and like he goes in and he organizes the information and puts everything where it should be. And like for me, seeing her close her eyes and like shuffle through, she's organizing the information in her mind and pulling out the information she needs.
I'm sure, like I said, I don't think it's that she wouldn't be. I just think that we wouldn't get a visual representation. Well, we won't, but
no.
I just think she's not the type of character to do that. I don't think you're wrong, and that impression isn't incorrect. I just think.
Well, and if her life was always in the books and sheltered.
Yeah, well, like essentially, she's going back to where she read the books when she's closing her eyes. Yeah, it's finding her safe place.
And
hit you
for
with
Flynn,
this. I think you're an. Actually, yeah, there we go.
For Flynn,
He is the character we've seen the least of right now.
yeah. And every time I've seen him, he annoys me.
I think he's.
I like that he has convictions. I like that he is very steadfast in those convictions. I hate how he speaks.
But you got a good Sam Riegel.
No, I love Sam Riegel. And I recognize the voice. Oh, I also recognized him in another thing that I was playing. I don't remember what I was playing, but I was playing something, and like it was just some random character off to the side, and I'm like, that's Sam Riegel.
Yeah.
um,
He does a lot of extra roles in like
yeah.
Persona, I think.
I don't have anything against Sam Riegel. I think he's doing a great job for what the character is. It's the way that he's like, oh, like he's so sure of himself and so sure of the direction that he needs to go in, which is great. But at the same time, get rid of your fucking cocky attitude.
He's not. Oh, I don't know if I'd use the word cocky. I understand where you're coming from with he's acting like he knows what's going on, and he keeps trying to like we see him consistently telling Yuri, like, man, you're doing things that are not like.
And he comes off like a royal knight. I've never liked those kind of characters.
But he's supposed to be like visually what we're seeing or what they're doing is they're superimposing Flynn from Yuri, and in the original version of the game on the Xbox that was only released before they released the Japan only version. He was not playable, right? He was just a foil to Yuri in every sense of the word. You play as Yuri. You play Yuri, who's obviously a fallen knight who hasn't gone up in the because he couldn't handle the way that, like, there was so many loopholes and like lacks of things they could do as official royal knights that he decides to go with the guilds later, like at this point, right?
Yeah.
Therefore, completely abandoning everything that the knights or the empire will do as a protection for his for that kind of person. Whereas Flynn is a person who, in using modern terms, grew up and idolized the idea of a cop because they're maintainers.
What it is.
Yes, they're maintainers of justice in his eyes.
That's
and then he did exactly that, which is he became a policeman or a military man, and he's now realizing bit by bit that he can't, from the outside, him and Yuri were both like, we are going to be knights. We're going to change the system from the inside because we can't let things happen the way they are. We grew up more or less not in nobility. We all had problems. We see the problems, and maybe as, the problem that they saw as children or as teenagers was the knights do not help the lower quarters because they just don't. There's just... And possibly, there's no knights that care about the lower quarters, right?
Yeah.
The way that they see it. Then Yuri and Flynn grow up, and Flynn sees this is still a problem, and Yuri sees this is still a problem. And then Yuri kind of gets the epiphany that
he can't change it from within.
One or two people trying to change this entire system isn't going to work. Like, he's looking at it as, even if I became top brass, I would have my hands so full that I would probably do what all the current top brass are doing, and ignore it because he sees that there's probably some good like knights there. He doesn't hate like Commandant Alexei or I don't think he hates him, but he doesn't love him.
No, he doesn't love them, but there's certain brigades that he's like, I'm not a fan of them, but like I don't hate them.
Yeah, right. So like, he hates Cumor because Cumor is so open about like, you guys are all non-nobility scum and you're basically slaves to us and blah blah. Right.
Yeah.
But Flynn, for whatever reason, probably because he already had like the makings of a knight to begin with, and I think we see in First Strike, Flynn can and was more talented at being a knight than Yuri. Yuri doesn't have the same pliability than Flynn does. Immediately you see like Yuri's like, this order I don't agree with, I'm not going to do it. Whereas Flynn's like, I don't understand why you're giving me this order, but there must be a good reason for it, right?
Yeah. That might be why I identify more with, like, why I like Yuri more, is because that's more of how I think. Whereas Flynn is, like, the exact opposite, and I can't stand those kind of
And
people.
I don't agree with Flynn's perspective either. Like, his concept will just get him tied up in the whole thing. We've
His
seen
hands
it,
will just be tied.
like, in the time that I started this game to the time where I finished this game, George Floyd was murdered. In 2018? No, we were dating, so it's 2019 or 2020.
He died in 2020.
2020, George Floyd
Because it was during the lockdowns.
was killed. No, it was right before the lockdowns.
No, it was right before the lockdowns in the U.S.
No, it was before COVID became a big problem, which means it was probably late 2019 or early 2020. Because we locked down, like, spring of 2020.
We were locked down in March of 2020.
Yeah, spring, thank you. So George Floyd was murdered, and like a lot of people...
May 25th, 2020, so it was just before we started our second lockdown.
It was during the lockdowns, yeah.
It was in between the first and the second lockdown.
Okay. So, like...
And just before the U.S. went into lockdown. Actually, they were in
so
lockdown.
So he got killed by a cop, and my eyes, having now tried to build a internet presence, had access to more people talking about that kind of thing. And I realized how much of a problem systemic race, like, I don't want to say I got woke or whatever, but, like, definitely it was brought to my attention, or I had access to the information way more often.
How I describe it is that your bubble was burst.
Yeah, that makes sense. We're like, so in seeing that, I'm like looking at Flynn and I'm like, while Yuri doesn't have necessarily the perfect solution of complete vigilante heroism, even then I can't even not side on Yuri's side, because where he exceeds the line that I may have drawn was he killed a rich guy because justice wouldn't catch up to him.
Yeah, I did not. That's a line that I would not cross.
The problem is, in this world, and even maybe in our world, how would that kind of problem been solved if the law fails to do it?
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And Flynn's solution, and like I said in an earlier stream, Flynn's solution and Yuri's solution need to work together.
You need someone on the inside who's willing to make the change, as well as somebody on the outside, so that way it could connect and work together. And then you're you're tackling the problem on two sides instead of just tackling it on one side.
I think what makes it weird in Tales of Vesperia specifically is that we don't see, like, they never mention that nobility do things because they are rich necessarily. Like, we know because of the parallels to the real world, the money is the actual factor that makes them so powerful, right?
Yeah.
But in our world, we don't have, like, titles the same way that they do in Tales of Vesperia. Not anymore.
Well, those titles still exist. They just don't hold the same power.
No, but they do come with a backing of, like, most of those titles that were given have, like, a ton of money with them anyway.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's old money.
So most of the time, money equals power. Power equals the problem, because if you have enough power, you can escape the law. And most of the laws that are designed to, like, hit lower income people, this isn't news, is... like, the concept I've heard of is, if it's a fine, it's...
What the fuck did you do to your blanket?
It's been like that for years, Ada. If it's, like, the concept is, if you're getting punished for a crime with a fine, it's a punishment for anybody but the rich.
Yeah.
Right? And this doesn't really apply the same way in this because we only see like big wigs at the top cause problems. The leader of a guild, the leader of, or a council member in the most powerful thing in an empire. Interesting that they chose to make it an empire, by the way, and not like just a kingdom or a series of kingdoms. It's an empire and a group of like free guilds, technically speaking. But yeah, so like we don't have the same parallels, but we know that the parallels are there, you know?
Yeah.
And so in looking at like how they structure their story, we're not necessarily supposed to side with Flynn. We're just supposed to understand that his idealism is necessary to achieve the goal that Yuri also wants.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you can't really change a system from the outside and inside individually. You need it going both ways. But Yuri went over the line a little bit by killing somebody. There's just no other actual... Like, the thing is that I also understand his point of view of, like, who's gonna stop this guy if the law isn't gonna? Because I can't, like, short of somebody shooting him or killing him like Yuri does... He's just going to keep, like, the longer he stays alive, the more he causes damage.
Something recently happened in Parliament that I know that I talked to you about, and I talked to your dad about it, and learned that, oh, hey, the way the situation was handled was how it was supposed to be handled. But it's like, it's 2024, and a member of our Parliament made a homophobic comment.
It's not just any member, by the way. It's the conservative leader.
Yeah. But he did it off the microphone. So therefore, the speaker, who is supposed to be non-partial, is not allowed to address it.
So goofy.
They have other methods of dealing with it.
It's goofy.
And of course, the Prime Minister made a comment about it, but because he made a comment about it on the microphone, the speaker had to be like, "Look, what you're doing is not okay either." Now, admittedly, the way the Prime Minister handled it was not the greatest way.
Hey, you found the charger for the 3DS.
Yeah, I knew exactly where it was.
I kept asking you, and you told me you didn't know.
I told you it was in the drawer.
I didn't find it there.
Are you kidding me? You opened the drawer. It is right there. There's two of them.
No. Anyway, yeah, onwards.
And I'm like, in a way, that is also something that, like, kind of works with what we're talking about, where there's two sides to the problem. And unless we find a way to tackle it from both sides, it's not going to get better.
Yeah, the thing with systems like that and laws like that and rules like that, and what really becomes an issue for bureaucracy in general, in my opinion, because that's an opinion and not an actual necessarily fact, like I'm not studying on this stuff, but like, is that when you have to follow guidelines and you can't go outside of the guidelines, this is a good thing in general when you're dealing with things like weapons and whatever, but I'll get to that in a bit, is that when you're doing things and then is that someone's always going to find a loophole, right? So like, I'm not technically, I have plausible deniability, or right, with the duels in the time, where like you just turn the doctor around and he can't witness because he never saw the shot go off, right? He just knows this guy's hurt. In this, in this? I'm not sure. In the Parliament thing, where like the guy's like, well, technically I can't do anything because he didn't...
No, but the ethics committee can.
Yeah, he's like, I can't do anything, so we're going to have to take it later. And then ethics committee...
The ethics committee, any board that he's on can deal with it.
Just definitely outside of my understanding of how this all goes down, but like...
Your dad gave me better insight.
The problem with all this, like, line drawing is that's the thing, people find loopholes. On the other hand, you don't want to not draw a line, because then you get people that don't get in trouble for murdering people, because they're legally allowed to, because they can just make up whatever BS story they want. Even if they have body cams, like that one woman that died recently in America, in the United States, because they came in and someone called the cops on her, or she called the cops on herself, and she had a boiling pot of water and she got shot like 5 times because, like...
Boiling pot of water is technically a weapon.
She put it down though, so she didn't have it in her hands. The body cam shows her put it down. He tells her to put it down after she's put it down, and anyway, it's a really bad situation.
Geez,
but
I
like,
didn't see that.
It's awful.
A lot of the situations are awful.
And like, the problem with not having lines is you get that kind of scenario.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say let the committee, like the speaker guy, go out all the time, but like when it's such a blatant shot, someone's got to do something about it. I'm happy to hear there's an ethics committee that's going to do something about it. Doesn't look like I heard any like results out of it, but like...
No, but Trudeau has been blocked for bills because of his comment.
So he's gonna get the big boy bad punishment, and then the other guy's got nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
It's great because he was addressing a problem, but at the same time he addressed it in such a bad way. There's a better way to address it than the way he did. Because the way he did was just shots fired back.
All he did. I don't think it's that. Look, okay, from maybe from a Parliament standpoint, it's a big crime. But like, all he did was go on the mic and say, "I didn't realize we were allowed to let our representatives use homophobic slurs," right? And then everybody got in a tizzy.
No, he said we are used to the other side making homophobic comments.
That's not even.
That's the.
That's not even that bad, actually.
It's
that's not even that bad. But like, I understand it breaks protocol to some point, and that's why I'm kind of bugged about it, because you both broke protocol, but one of you did it on the mic,
and one of you didn't.
And like, you can't say it's false.
No, and that's the thing, is the speaker wasn't saying that it was false or anything. He just went, I did hear it, but the mic was off. So he was making it clear, I can't do anything about it. But I hope that we all treat each other equally and honorably. And Mr. Prime Minister, I ask that you retract your comment. Because he's stating a fact, but at the same time, the way he said it was shots fired back.
The shots they deserve.
The shots that they deserve, but in order to treat everybody equally and honorably,
I
it's
think
not
the
acceptable.
hypocritical thing in that is that you're clearly not choosing to treat them honorably or equally, because you're punishing someone for defending himself when he knows you can't or you won't.
Yeah.
And the other guy did something that's so much more disrespectful, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. No, honestly, like, I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, had I been in that situation, I would have said, no, this is a problem, and we should not be allowing this in this house.
Well, the rest of the cabinet, the rest of the people there that were on the Liberal side
on the Liberal side, all clapped and cheered.
Well, they also went on the mic and were like, you're not really serious about, like, nailing us for this, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm like, that's just creating a hostile work environment. And like, going back to the
exactly
video
what
game,
we need, is a freaking hostile work environment in Parliament. Yes, going back to the video game.
Going back to the video game, like, I'm realizing, yeah, it's what you said. Flynn represents cops.
Absolutely.
And
he's 100% an idealistic cop.
And that is my I didn't realize that was my problem with him, because I wasn't registering him as a cop.
What do you mean? He's dressed in blue.
I know, but my brain wasn't putting it together. It was just going, I don't trust this, I don't like this. And that's because I'm a person of color who has been taught,
no, for
you
sure,
can't trust the system.
And
you can't trust the cops.
Well, that's what the game is telling us too. So I think it's an incredible storyline to give us for a game that's made in Japan, where, to my understanding, I don't think the concept of police in North America is good, but the concept of police in Japan is heavily more controlled and not as, like, to my understanding, not as bad. Probably still bad, though, because we have all sorts of, like, corrupt cop storylines, Yakuza getting their hands in the cop storylines.
Yeah.
Persona 5 is a whole storyline about how cops are not going to solve your problem.
Yeah.
Because you start the game off getting your butt kicked by cops. As a teenager, you're 17 years old.
But yeah, like...
So I take back my statement. It's not that incredible, okay? We have problems with policemen all over the world.
Yeah, we have problems with police all over the world. And, like, as somebody of color who has been taught, look, you need to be careful because they're not going to be on your side. It explains my immediate distrust and dislike of this character, because my brain is going, this character is not on my side.
Yeah, I saw a video.
You've seen me walk by cops and, like, immediately get all nervous about it.
I saw a video today on TikTok, funny, about a character, well, a person. It's a person that, like, always hits you with the, they tend to make these videos about how, like, hey, you're looking for this kind of series,
try this series.
No, not even. It's like, it's more like, yeah, almost, but not quite, because what they'll do is they'll be sitting there like, hi, I'm looking for a series with really good disabled representation. Full Metal Alchemist. Yeah, but I also want, like, you know, with someone that you can see them, like, suffering through their disability, not washing it off and just magically losing. Oh, yeah, Full Metal Alchemist, right? So they'll do videos like that, but most of the time it was focused on Avatar: The Last Airbender. So today, whenever they posted that video, I saw the video and they're like, all cops are bastards includes insert beloved cop character here, or insert police type character here, and not necessarily openly explaining that all cops are bastards applies to, like, just because they're actual bad characters. It's more so that no matter what you do, these cops are always going to be working with a corrupt system, a system that is fallible and inherently racist.
Yeah.
So, the one that hurt me was, obviously, they said all cops are bastards include Leon S. Kennedy. I'm like, wait, but he's only been a policeman for one day. And then someone commented, yeah, but then he became a government secret agent. And I was like, oh! So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like, I've been watching The Rookie recently, and I really like the characters in it. And it's because these characters generally want justice. And they are good cops. And they're like, this is the line. And they do bring in a racist cop.
Yeah, I know, you showed me. He's open. The thing about that cop, he's not as bad as most racist cops we see in those shows.
Yeah.
He's a little more subtle about it, but you still immediately peg him for a racist cop. And, like,
it takes a moment. You have to wait for one specific scene to happen, and then it's like, oh.
It takes half an episode.
Half an episode, yeah, and then they introduce it.
But, like, my point would be that if there was a real, like, not glorified, and I know we're watching TV, so you don't want that. It's not entertaining in a way.
Yeah.
But if you want to do a real, like, deep dive into why the system of the police is a problem, you'd have to not show somebody who's openly, actively, aggressively racist against people of color. You'd have to show people who want to defend people of color, but I guess it'd be longer because you'd have to show them getting whittled down to the fact that, like, no matter what you do, the main issue is that you are armed, and people of color, you have been hammered in your head since training that they are the most likely to shoot you first.
Yeah, since you were in diapers, you're told, be careful. Do not break into your own home. Do not, like...
No, you're saying that from the point of view of a person of color who's getting told this. I'm telling you that from a white guy, or even a black cop,
yeah,
you know that when you start police training, particularly in America, because I can only speak for North America, I suppose, but...
Well, I knew people who were in police foundations, and my HR class was right next to statistics for... like the statistics class for police foundations, and our classes started at the same time, and we both had to wait because the classes before were taking too long.
Mm-hmm.
And we started up a conversation, and I had another program that also worked with the police foundations, and we did talk with them, and they're like immediately looked at us as the colored kids, and they went, according to our statistics,
yeah, that's
you guys are more likely to commit a crime, even though we know you personally right now, and we know you guys aren't bad people.
Yep.
We still have to consider the statistics, and you guys are lower on the statistics.
Yeah,
and they were talking about how it was problematic, and, like, luckily in this particular class, they were also being told, like, yes, these are the statistics that are there, but you also got to be wary that these statistics are biased.
And we are lucky enough to live in Canada, where there's more weapon control than they have in the United States of America. Whereas in the USA, you can pull out a gun whenever you want, whether you're a cop or not. With some rules. Obviously, you can't just threaten people with a gun. That's threatening to kill, and I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
And you have to have it registered. If it's not registered, then the cops can't arrest you for it.
But I'm sure it's more complicated than that because there's open carry and hidden carry and blah, blah, blah licenses. Yeah. But the fact remains that with those statistics being fed to you, and then you get into a situation where you were talking to somebody who's spoken to you on a daily basis or on a regular basis enough that they can see you, identify you, know your name, know the kind of person you are, at least get a vibe from it, right? But with policemen that are on the streets doing stuff that don't deal with necessarily, like, people, like, you're new to the job, for example, or you're not even new to the job, you've just been on the beat for 50 years, and then you end up in a situation with people that you heard are maybe a murderer, a thief, an armed robber, or whatever, and you know there is a weapon or a possibility of a weapon being involved, then you immediately have in your head that your life might be in danger, And your survival instinct is going to kick in even if you aren't. Your idea of it being there, like, is the problem.
Yeah.
Because the second you would be seeing a person with fits that statistic, because you're told to immediately profile.
Yeah.
Like, you have no choice.
You don't have a choice. You have to profile in that job.
At least the way they train you for it. Because and unfortunately, because you're trying to train people as fast as possible to be as efficient as possible with funds and funding and just like getting people out on the job, because there is a ratio of deaths to be had,
Yeah.
then you're gonna cut corners. And when you're teaching people, the most basic is, here are the chances that when you profile a person of color, they have committed a crime and need to be arrested.
So something that I've noticed that is, oh damn.
Hmm?
Oh yeah. I think
We have a computer table that like bends this way, and I keep hitting the chair, and the chair therefore bends it backwards, and the stuff on it starts falling.
Well, I think I had it
There's
where
a
the
lot of stuff
chair
on it, too.
had it locked in place because it hadn't moved for months, and then you just touched it briefly, and everything started falling.
Yep.
But yeah, and I think another difference is that in Canada, police training takes so much longer than in the U.S. Because in the U.S. they do a
2
year.
years. 2 years in school plus whatever training you do on the job.
In the U.S. they do a year at the police academy, I think. But here they have, with some of the schools, like I know in Ontario, near the school that I went to,
Well, that should
they
be
had to do
easier.
4 years. 4 years of police foundation training, and then they do training on
If
the
you
job.
go to school here, you can do it in like 2 years.
2 years?
I think so.
So it depends on where you are. So different areas, it's different timings for it.
Yeah.
And
I-
I think the longer you have for training, the less likely you are to have a biased cop. Like in the beginning stages. Like
Yeah. I mean,
we ran simulations, like my acting class
so much more complicated.
ran simulations for the cops, and at first, like for the police foundation. And at first, I was like, I don't want to do it because like I'm fucking terrified of cops. But then I went, these are students, and one of the things that my teacher said is that like we're acting out scenarios for them, but we also get to talk to them afterwards, and we get to try and change, like try and instill certain things, like, hey, you might have somebody of color who's completely innocent and not holding a weapon but looks like they might, or they're having a mental health break, and like
Yep.
looking at the different scenarios and talking about it, and then like we also got information from them. But like that was a crucial thing, is every time that we ran a scenario, afterwards we sat there and we talked for like 20 minutes. So,
20 minutes is a very short conversation when it's on this kind of thing, if I'm being honest.
except we did 20 different scenarios.
That's pretty much more, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, my what was I thinking? I think that the fact of the matter is that we still have to convince people, not just policemen, but these are the statistics they're using to train policemen, and the people and the statistics that they're using to justify, people that aren't policemen are using to justify the mortality rate towards black people specifically. The problem is that the statistics exist and they're not inherently wrong. They are correct, but they're arrest statistics spanning back however many years, but it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? You have arrest statistics on black people, and it's X amount of people getting arrested is black. It's a higher percentage than white people.
Same with the
But
Latin community.
they're never going to give you the reasoning for it if they're just trying to train you on profiling.
Yeah.
The concept is that these people have been arrested disproportionately because cops have been going after them disproportionately. Because in the United States, the entirety of the police force was designed to keep control of slaves that were emancipated. Like populations of black people that were no longer slaves.
Yeah.
When slavery was
Abolished.
not just abolished, because they exist prior.
Yeah, because some people would be released and be free,
Yeah.
and like I did see It was I think it was actually a movie where they made a point of like there was a guy who ended up back on the cotton farms along with his wife and his child, and a cop showed up and went, "This man is free. You cannot have him. We have papers saying he's free."
Yep. That's so weird.
So it was so it wasn't only like to protect keep them in check, but it was also to make sure that if they were free, they were free.
Well, no, the yes, but I'm pretty sure you're not, like, there's some people that have that thought process, but to my understanding,
Most
the
of it was
inception
not.
of the police force was control people that, in the opinion
Were
of the
not.
government, should not be free, right?
Yeah.
And then you also get into the fact that, like, of course, people who are forced to be pushed into, like, poverty on a higher scale than the ruling class, which at the time was white people, of course they're going to be committing crime more often, whether it's petty crime or not.
Well, and that's something that's still a problem today. Is like we look at
Yes.
the poverty lines. And
Absolutely.
and like they bring it up in shows too, and they're like, "Why is it so bad in the colored communities?" And it's because they're forced into the life.
Yeah, yes, you're correct. Your rookie show said that, and
A couple of other shows.
I'm pretty sure this game is trying to make that point subtly too, because again, they're not talking about necessarily money as a direct factor, but we're seeing that people who are born out of nobility are forced to do things like become part of a guild to make so that they have groups. Guilds are at both times an outside government and gangs. It's kind of odd because the parallel
really
is not
is.
perfect, but it exists, and we see people like Zagi who obviously enjoys the act of killing. But we don't know what led him there. I don't think we're necessarily going to learn, but we see
I
people.
think he was just born psychotic.
Look,
That's what I'm.
I
getting
think
from
we're
this
going
character.
into mental health talk, and I am not equipped for that. I'm barely equipped for this conversation.
Yeah, and like something else that I thought was amazing that happened after the George Floyd conversation was that interracial couples started to speak up, and it wasn't the colored couple portion of
I'm
the
going to
couple.
have to ask you to stop saying colored,
Why?
because that has negative connotations.
I'm saying colored because I'm not just referring to black.
People of color.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm shorting.
POCs.
POC. So the POC member of the couple, who was already very aware of the problem, weren't the ones speaking out. It was the white portion of the couple who were going like, "I'm suddenly scared now because I thought the cops would protect my kids, but I'm realizing that."
Like, obviously not. We just saw a guy get choked to death in front of, like, a live audience.
Yeah, and like it was sort of like bubbles were being burst, sort of like how I saw it for you.
Well, that's what happened with the previous BLM movement, like, spike, I guess, if you will, and it's more or less what happens every time another
Yeah, back
thing
in the 70s
gets.
it happened too.
Yeah, there's another. I think it's in 2012. I don't know. Elijah Wood is not. It's after George Floyd.
The one that happened earlier, I do remember it. I remember not, like, I tried not
Elijah
to
Wood.
look at it.
That might not even be his name.
Elijah Wood is
No, that's Elijah Woods.
Elijah Wood's.
Yes, she was about to say Frodo.
Yes.
I know there's another actor called Elijah Wood, but I think there's a black young man called Elijah that got killed because he was walking down the street with headphones in, and everybody in the neighborhood knew him as, like, a friendly kid.
It was the autistic kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do remember that. That
But
also
he got
happened.
killed because he didn't hear the cop calling out to him.
Yeah, he was
Let me refrain. He got killed because the cop got offended he couldn't hear him. Okay?
Yeah. No, that kid, he was an autistic kid, and he couldn't hear because he had headphones in to help deal with his
General
sound
sensory
sensitivity.
overload.
Yeah, sensory overload. And no, it really is sad because some kids are just like. I remember watching all of these mixed, like, interracial couples, like the white portion of the couple speaking up, and like I remember crying about it because it was like, hey, I feel heard now.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I know for your mom it was Grey's Anatomy that kind of burst it,
I think Grey's Anatomy has its issues, but it's not afraid to tackle race problems, and I
No,
kind of
and like
appreciate that.
they did an episode where a kid got killed by the cops because he was trying to break into his own home because he forgot the key and the neighbors weren't home.
And then they have that
So
conversation with their son, yeah.
Yeah, and your mom was surprised and was like, "That can't be true. That conversation doesn't exist." And I was like, I was in the kitchen doing the dishes, and I was like, "Yes, yes, it
You're
does."
like, hello, Iris's mom. I'm afraid you're going to have to realize that you have just spoken with privilege. Yeah.
Yeah, and like we had a lot of talks after that.
Yeah, and like, they still speak of some things in a way that they have clearly not understood the whole thing. I don't think
Yeah.
I've understood the whole thing, to be fair. Like, I'm never going to have experienced it the same way a person who actually has to live it day to day
I mean,
is.
it took me how many years to walk around this neighborhood by myself?
3.
3.
But, yeah, it's, yeah, right.
It's something that you learn to live with.
It just gets so much worse, too, because, like, it's always a question of, like, who's going to get caught in the wrong place, wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to get... whose intersectionality makes it worse.
Sometimes I feel like I have to walk around with our kid's birth certificate.
Yeah, because he's a lot whiter than you are.
Yeah, because he's, 3/4 white and 1/4 black?
Yep.
So he looks white. But
Yep.
he's my kid.
Yep.
And, like, I remember even when I was pregnant, I was hoping he'd look white so that way he wouldn't have the same issues I had.
Oh, we're playing Totally Not Corpse Party. Hello, Bishu. Sorry, dog.
That's okay. And, like, it's a scary concept, but, like, it's the truth of the matter is that there are going to be people who are out there who have to think about that, where they do carry around their kids' birth certificates, because people will be like, "Are you sure that's your kid? Are you sure you didn't kidnap your
It's
kid?"
just so awful.
It is, and like here, it's passive aggressive. It's so passive aggressive.
At the very least, in your case, I don't think you've gone through the exact thing. You were worried you were going to go through it the other day.
Yeah, I was worried I'd have to go through it at one point. I mean, I'm pretty sure that if his teachers didn't see me like from day one and like see him attached, like he attaches himself to me, and so that's a good thing. But also they saw you and it explained things to them.
I guess.
Because there was last year a daycare person
Yeah.
who thought somebody else's kid was my kid.
Yes, you did mention that.
Yeah, so like they didn't think my kid was mine because he's white.
I think it's goofy because, like,
A lot of people are mixed nowadays.
you can adopt a kid.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like my mother's uncle, but he adopted 2 Asian children. Like,
Yeah.
would they give him the same, like, look as, like, if you adopted a white kid? Or, like, no, they won't, because it's just, like, implicit racism that they have. And it's unfortunately going to be very present for a long, long time.
Yeah.
If it ever goes away. So, like, it just sucks that it's a thing to begin with. That, like, we all have... Is this a question? No. That we all have that implicit bias because of how it went through in the past.
Yeah. Like, it's sad. But, yeah, again, going back to the game, I did not realize that's why I hated Flynn so much. It's because it's inherent for me, is that kind of behavior I have to watch out for. It's something I have to look for. And I have to be wary of. Because that kind of behavior could get me killed.
Yep.
Or arrested. At the
Well,
very
lucky
least.
for us, Flynn has never drawn his sword against people that don't deserve it or stepped out of the boundaries of his written duty
Yeah.
without a good reason.
Yeah, and I feel bad that I judge cops immediately, but like, no.
I mean, they have statistics that will make them judge you.
Yeah.
Like, in the same way that they will look at you and profile you as someone who's more likely to commit a crime than I am, you will look at them and see them as someone who's more likely to shoot you than
Yeah.
any other worker.
Well, we
So-
went on vacation the one time, and like we happened to cross by like 5 cops, and I got super nervous and clung to him because I knew that if I was with him and clinging to him, they weren't gonna bother me.
I don't know about that one, but I understand the concept though.
No, the concept. Well, like because I am with you, and you don't look shady or anything like that, and like it's they're just nervous because of my badge.
I guess, yeah.
Because that's sometimes what it is they're just nervous about the badge.
Yeah.
And that's what they have to think about sometimes. And like having a white friend or a white husband or wife, a white partner, helps with. That's the thing. That's one of the things that the talks talk about. If you are with a group of friends, hang out with your white friend, because for the love of God, you're going to live.
Yeah, if your white friend doesn't make things worse by
Yeah,
assuming
if
that
your
you're all
white-
safe, yeah.
Yeah, if your white friend doesn't make things worse, if you know, like, no, but even if they do make things worse, if you're going like, hey man, or hey girl, like, chill out, you are statistically less likely to get shot at.
Yeah, they're gonna
If
see
you're
you
with
as
a white person.
the person who's doing the right thing, yeah. The more reasonable person out of it, yeah.
Yeah, if you're the more reasonable person, but also if you're just with a white person.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
sad, but it's true, and it's part of the talk.
Hey, Metallica.
One of the talks, like, that is something that was made very clear to me, and I never brought it up before now, because I was like, I didn't like it growing up. I understood why, but I wasn't a huge fan of it, and so I never talked about it, but it's, yeah, if you're with a white person, that's why I clung to you, is because I'm with somebody who is white, this is my husband, if I'm closer to him and make it clear that I'm with him, I will be left alone. Sad, but it's part of the talk.
It sucks.
It sucks.
It's true.
But like, if you and a bunch of friends are together and the cops show up and you don't take off running. 2,
Yeah.
stick to your white friend as close as possible.
I think that's something that media has told us very often. Don't take off running. And I don't...
Yeah.
I don't know, because we
And
also have to
3?
keep in mind that the cops are not your friend no matter who you are.
No.
Like,
And 3, do everything the cops say. do not do anything
I'm not
against
sure
what
about
they
that
say.
one. That one guy on TikTok, he keeps saying maybe don't do it. I think the important thing that everybody should know is know your rights and know what the laws are, because cops don't need to make an arrest.
Well, someone I've been seeing is a black guy who teaches firearms, and so he has an open
Carry license, yeah?
not only an open concealed license.
Sorry.
He's allowed to have a concealed weapon, and he has a open carry license. So whenever he gets pulled over on the road, he immediately puts his hands out the window, and he goes, "Just so you know,
Yeah.
I
have
have
a gun in this area."
Yeah,
That's right.
I have a gun and I have a license. Can I go and reach for my license?" And I'm like, this is a very good way of doing it, because you're immediately showing that you're non-aggressive. Whereas
yeah, but
the lawyer ones that I see are immediately like, I know my rights, but they're always white when they do that. The black lawyers immediately just
there's
do.
a black lawyer that's like telling you that, like, cops doing things like what happened with Breonna Taylor, where they showed up and they're like, "This is the warrant. We have a warrant to search. Let us in." And the guy was like, "No, that's not, like, you need to ask to see the warrant." He's like, "Look, know your rights, because you need to be able to read the warrant, because they cannot come in if they don't have the correct warrant. And if they don't show you the warrant, you can deny them entry."
Yeah.
And then whatever they do at that point becomes a problem, and then you're never going to find a way that's perfect, because even if I say you can't come in, you do not have a warrant, there's a big likelihood that they're like, "Yes, we do, kick down the door," right?
Yeah, and something that I've noticed with the shows, which drive me nuts, is that when they go to serve a warrant and
Hey, Amy, how you doing?
Hi. Whenever they go to show it, like, I understand that it's a TV show and it needs to happen quickly, but they're like, "Open up, we're the police, we have a warrant," and then they go, "Immediately go," and I'm like, you are not giving them enough time to come to the door.
Nope.
there needs to be
The
more time
thing
comes
is
to the
that
door.
in those scenarios, they're very often on a time limit, and they have to like.
And they have to move quickly
They
because
want them
could
to
be
prevent them
trying
from trying to get away. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's understandable, but at the same time, I'm like, that is...
But to my understanding, a search warrant doesn't need the person to be there.
No.
So.
But then you
And
get a
the search
problem,
warrant isn't
like,
for an arrest. No, if you have an arrest warrant, yes. But a search warrant is just so that you can go into the grounds. And like that guy on TikTok was saying, if you read the arrest warrant or the search warrant, it delineates where they are allowed to search. So if I'm looking for this item, a bag of Coke,
yeah.
they can't go and look for other things to utilize as, like, evidence against you in other crimes or to frame you for something else, right? And then what the guy did say was, keep an eye on them anyway, because they can try to falsify evidence by saying, oh, I found this thing there, right?
Well, and I saw some video camera footage at one point, and it was of a black elderly woman in her home, and the cops showed up, and she saw the warrant, and they came in, and they were searching, and she went, he doesn't live here anymore. He hasn't lived here for 12 years. I don't know this person. And they're like, well, we have to search the premise. We have a warrant. And she reads the warrant, and she's like, I understand that, but I need you to leave now because he has not been here for 12 years, and I don't know who this person is. I've lived
Well, if
here
they're like,
for 12
if they're
years.
like, hey, this warrant says we can search here because we think he hid something, it makes sense that they go through the premises. Unfortunately, it would also imply that they pay for any damages they incur by destroying her house if he hasn't been there for 12 years.
Yeah.
But, like,
No, they just
I don't see any
her
other
house was
situation
destroyed.
where they could walk in and search the place if it was a guy who hasn't lived there for 12 years. If it's his last recorded address and now the name or the domicile is under somebody else's name, the search warrant should only cover, like, what they think might... But that's what the guy was saying, like, the warrant is only supposed to cover what reasonably, like... What could reasonably contain whatever they're looking for, evidence for the crime they're looking for, right?
Yeah, and like they went into the house and she allowed them time to search, but then they searched another 4 times. They did 4 sweeps.
Yeah, well...
And so by that time she was trying to kick them out, and they're like, we need to serve this warrant. We need to check. We understand that you're saying that he hasn't been here, but he could possibly come back. And she was like, it's been 12 years. You've broken my door. You've broken my cabinets in my kitchen because she had an open concept. Yep. It's a small kitchen. They destroyed her couch.
And you're not going to pay me back for it.
You're not going to pay me for this stuff. And she's like, get out. And she had the right to tell them to get out at that time.
Yeah, just realistically, who are you going to, like, how are you going to enforce that get out, right?
Yeah. And so eventually she's like, bring your supervisor. And when the supervisor showed up, they cleared out. But it wasn't until she had to get a supervisor involved.
She'd also, like, because even if they continuously, like, went and the supervisor was like, screw you, we have a warrant or whatever, and the warrant says whatever I want it to say. Even if they did that, like, what would she do? She'd be like, oh, who am I going to call? Their bosses? What's, like, the thing is, I understand from her perspective, I don't have any trust in the system if they're already breaking the rules here, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be like, well, I'll call your bosses, or I want your badge number, I'll make a complaint. What's going to happen if you make a complaint? Historically speaking, if I complain against a cop that comes and, like, pushes, he'll make up some BS answer, or they'll just cover it up so that the police department still gets funding.
Well, and that's why yeah, no, completely. And, like, the only reason why it worked with a supervisor for her is because they searched they searched too many times, and they destroyed it, and she was getting fed up.
She'd have to, like,
And
take a lawsuit out against them.
She did. She won.
And no, it's not that easy to do a lawsuit against police officers.
It's not, but she did it against the department.
Yeah, well, like, the department as well isn't that easy because, like, they can, again, they're in charge of collecting most evidence.
Yeah, but she did win the lawsuit because of the body cam footage, and it shows them being there for too long and her explaining, I have no idea who this person is. They might have been the previous tenants, but I've been here for 12 years.
Oh, man, I'm so happy body cam footage has been nailed enough times. You know the reason that body cam footage works so often these days is because police departments across, like, all of North America kept getting slapped for shutting down the cameras.
Yeah.
Like, cops will go in, know they're doing something illegal, turn off the camera, and then they'll be like, they'll kill somebody, right? And then they'll say, well, they shot at me first. And everybody's like, okay, how come all the cops have their cameras off? And then eventually they'll be like, yo, you are, like, literally breaking the rules of, like, your entire HR department. Like,
that was something that they also brought up in the Rookie. They bring it up several times, is that they have to have when they're on duty, they have to have their camera on unless they're going to the bathroom.
yeah.
If they're not in their shop, if they're not in their car, their body cams have to be on.
And I think that's great, but like also if you don't have evidence to prove that this cop killed somebody and it's hearsay and the only witnesses are policemen or people with iffy track records, then even if you do turn the body cam off, what's gonna happen? You're gonna get nailed with like a suspension at worst, right?
Yeah, well, something that they showed in the show was that they were looking for somebody who was leaking information in their investigation. They were looking for corrupt cops, and so they went through the body cam footage, and somebody had turned off their camera and took evidence, which broke the chain of custody. And it was by finding
specific situation that
it was a specific situation that doesn't necessarily come, but that was one of the times where they showed body cam footage being so they showed a couple of times being really essential. But in this one, they were like they spent hours scrubbing through. There was a long line of cops. There was a lot of cops in that.
No, I get it. What I'm saying is like you turned your body cam footage, like your body cam off. There's no footage for the time you committed a crime against someone who didn't.
Yeah.
Like needed to, like you brutally murdered somebody, and then you turn the camera back on whenever you're done with it, and then they find that this person died, and then you're the only person who is still alive that witnessed the event, so you get to make up whatever BS answer you want. What's the actual punishment you're gonna get versus keeping it on, right?
Yeah.
Because if you kill this person, you get caught. You apparently don't even get fired. You get suspended with pay for 2 weeks. Apparently, okay.
That's while they're doing the investigation.
No. It's not. That's what happened to the guy who killed George Floyd.
George Floyd guy got fired and he was put in jail by the end of it. He was originally given suspension with pay.
What about the guy that killed Breonna Taylor? Scot-free.
They got off scot-free because it was an innocent mistake, apparently. They went into her home and shot her while she was asleep. I'm like...
With the wrong home?
There was 5 of them,
It was a warrant for the wrong home?
Yeah, and there was 5 of them, and they were all removed from the force.
So, like, no, they got off scot-free. They still have a job.
Oh, right. Yeah, they still have a job.
So, like,
the George
if
Floyd
the difference
guy
is I get a
doesn't-
slap on the wrist, or my body cam footage incriminates me, what am I going to do?
Turn it off.
I'm going to click the thing off. So they need to have a really bad, like, punishment for turning off the... Which is what I'm assuming they're doing, because we're seeing so many more, like, incriminating footage like going on all over the internet. It's publicized, right?
Oh yeah, like there was one that I saw where it was a guy with his dog, and like the dog originally wasn't going, and they're like the guy is under arrest, everything's under control. There's 5 cops there. He comes up and he eggs the dog on, and then the dog goes after
attacks,
him.
so now he can be.
The dog attacks, and the others are going, "What the hell, man? Control your dog!" And then the dog attacks a cop. Because the dog was all riled up by its trainer.
So yeah, I think that...
And then other times you see, like, there was one where it was a car accident because they were in a chase, and he accidentally collided with a civilian car, and immediately was like, go to the dog first.
I think issues like that tend to like make a very good like argument for why the entirety of the system of the police force is flawed at its core. Like,
yeah.
Needs either a complete redoing. We know they need less money.
Yeah.
Because those services, particularly in countries where they are super armed, like in the United States, that money could go towards a bunch of other services that would help the society and lower the crime rate.
Something that actually I think that they should be putting their money towards is for mental health calls, having somebody who is a mental health professional on call.
Well, the concept
who comes with them.
I mean, yeah, but you could put that in any other force that's not the police force.
Yeah.
Because, like, what I'm thinking is, so what we know that happens a lot with, like, literally any government-funded, like, organization is when you're funded by the government and you need to justify how much money you're going to be given by the government, you need a budget. You need to explain where all the money goes, right?
Yeah.
Right. So things like, for example, the United States military will be like, hey, we have this much funding this year. We're going into the audit soon. We need to prove that we still need this much money, and we want more funding. So we need to prove that we need more money. What do they do if they want to keep at least the same baseline?
They have to They have to run.
They waste money.
Yeah.
They will take supplies. This is a thing that I've read about that happened. Now, I'm not part of the United States military, but like, this is not surprising to me at all because I've heard stories of this across every other government, like, agency, whatever. They'll take supplies, for example, and they'll ship them from like one end of the world to the other, one military base to the other, which is an exorbitant cost in like fuel, in cargo, in maintenance, and in the manpower that it takes to do that.
Yeah.
And then you'll bring it back to where it was, so that on paper you say, I needed to do this, this happened. But like from a legitimate standpoint, you haven't moved anything actually.
Yeah.
You've just wasted millions of dollars shipping things back and forth to justify that you're going to get the same amount next year. And so by cutting down on that kind of problem and by giving like government funded things only the amount of money they need by doing proper audits is the number one thing that I can see that is a solution. You can defund things as wasting money, like giving cops SWAT gear. It's not necessary. You don't need cops to have riot gear in every city. Not to the point that
small
they
towns.
have.
Not the small towns.
Not to the point that they have in any. Even in New York, you don't need to have an entire police force armed to the teeth with, like, I think rubber bullets are fine, but they need to be trained to use them properly.
I think New York's a little iffy
I
just
think-
because of the Twin Towers.
I don't agree. No. Because what did the cops do with the Twin Towers?
They helped.
Nothing. No.
No,
they didn't.
They went in with the firefighters.
Homeland Security did stuff with that.
Oh, okay.
And they evacuated people. And I'm sure cops helped evacuate people too.
Yeah.
But you know what you don't need for evacuation?
Riot gear.
Riot gear.
Yeah.
You need gas masks. You need ladders. You need
Yeah.
fire trucks. You need trampolines if they're falling from... But you don't need full head-to-toe bulletproof armor,
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a little
a
ridiculous.
body-sized shield, assault rifles, and gas grenades.
Yeah. Yeah, and, well, I realized that, like, in The Rookie, they make fun of them having access to this gear.
Yeah, and they do it in a
Because
lot
they-
of like shows
Like,
too.
they made fun of it in the best way. They had a pregnant cop who was getting married, and things were going wrong. And so
did that
two
in
of the
the-
male characters show up with a riot. They're like, "You think whatever news you're about to share with me will save you? That riot shield will save you?" And they're like, "No, but we think it will minimize the damage."
And like from like that same
I'm like,
this stream
that's
has
a good way
talked
of
has turned
talking
into a lot of this talk, but I think that thank you Tales of Vesperia for giving us a platform. I think that like again in those situations where like most of the time when you see the way that they work with like specialists for things like bomb threats and terrorist threats, terrorists are handled by the FBI.
Yeah.
Riots 90% of the time turn into riots when the police step over the line.
Yeah.
They instigate because it's another high pressure situation, and of course the people with the biggest weapons are going to be the more trigger happy.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. So like you get public manifestations isn't
This
the
is
word.
all because we started talking about Flynn.
Because Flynn's a cop.
Yeah.
So you get like public not riots. They're what's the word I'm looking for? It's riots but not violent.
Protests?
Yeah, you get protests that turn into riots because
I have seen them be in riot gear, and then people try to run, like, civilians try to run over the people who are protesting.
because you
And then those in the riot gear getting in between, and they're less harmed.
Yeah, but like the problem is they're in the riot gear to begin with, I think. Because when you get to the riot gear, the biggest thing that happens most often is that you'll have policemen trying to make it so that the protesters can't leave a certain area, right? So if the protest is happening in front of Parliament, suddenly you'll see tape lines around Parliament so that cars can't go in. Good.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can't get people going over the line if they're not participating in the protest.
Yeah.
Fine, I agree. Okay? But when you show up with a full squad in riot gear, what tends to happen is that they get aggressive when people are trying to cross over this line, or they try to shrink the territory with their riot gear, because the number, like the phalanx position, if you want to call it, where they're like, they've all got their shields and they're all locked in and they're moving forward and they're shutting down the riot,
Yeah.
especially when it's protests against the police, they take it
Yeah.
personally. They have the power to make it a bigger problem, and that's the issue.
Yeah, and I agree with that. That is an issue. At the same time, like, the ones where, like, they're they're there more so to protect the protesters from idiots in vehicles.
Yeah, but see, I don't think you need riot gear. You could have like spike chains on the ground. You could have roadblocks. You could like none of that requires weaponry.
No, and I agree. The only thing I'm thinking about like all the different videos that I've seen of cops in riot gear having to get in between a car that is ready to run them over.
The riot gear isn't going to save you from the car, by the way.
No, but it does minimize some of the damage. Because there's a bit of a cushion there.
What I think is that they should take money out of like all the heavy equipment. Not necessarily, even if you want to like just leave them things like
a little bit.
I think that you can leave them things like bulletproof vests. That makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, because if you're giving them defensive equipment, it makes more sense than giving them heavy artillery and weaponry. Okay.
Like if the riot gear, you sometimes see them do with raids because they know that they're going to go into a heavy shootout.
But they can have bulletproof armor and helmets without having. My biggest issue is the weapons, right? So without having assault rifles, sniper rifles, or gas canister bomb, like tear gas, they use against protests so often for no reason. Rubber bullets, they're not trained properly to use them. I have to assume because I'm looking at the way that I understand rubber bullets are meant to use, and that's how do you think rubber bullets are meant to be used?
Well, first off, not in the face.
No, they're not supposed to be aimed at people.
No, aren't they supposed to be used for animals?
You shoot them at the ground. You shoot them at the ground, and then they either shatter or bounce to kind of warn. It's not meant to harm.
It's not meant to harm. It's meant for warning.
Yeah, but they tend to shoot into crowds.
Yeah.
Which is bad because if you've ever played a game of airsoft, which I have, you don't need rubber bullet. You don't need those are like little. They're not firearms. They're little like air guns. They're like compressed air guns, and the little plastic beads hurt and will break skin. You get warned when you go into an airsoft game.
My mom was in a game that was an airsoft game when it was first coming out, and she talked about the big bruises that she used to get from people using BB guns that were.
Yeah, they don't let you go into that place without what is essentially right.
Same with paintball.
Well, so with paintball,
paintball is also just as bad.
I've never bled with paintball because the balls tend to explode. They can bruise you, but I've never bled. The thing is that the BB bullet is so much smaller that it's the concept of the spread energy does not spread that much. It pierces. So you have welts, you have cuts, you have the whole shebang when you go into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that if you take funding out of equipping them with heavy weapons and you instead train them to de-escalate more, you put funding into de-escalation, you'd get better results.
Yeah.
But I'm a 27-year-old guy who has never done police training, who's never worked in police environments, who has only ever understood how people live it from the side that are not policemen.
That is true.
So, I don't have the perfect solution.
No. And, I'm also just a 30-something colored woman who also is looking at it from the other side.
So,
I've never been a cop myself. Yeah, I know somebody who's done police foundations. I've read through the material.
My mom's cousin's a cop and oops.
Well, yeah, and I remember your mom talking to me about that, especially when I was saying, I don't trust cops. Because I am inherently trained to not trust cops.
And they were like, yeah, but I have a cop cousin. And we're like, okay, sure. He still friggin' works into a flawed system.
Yeah, one of my bosses is he has a bunch of military and cop family. And he was so confused. Because, I had an incident where I was really uncomfortable on the bus. And I did not feel comfortable calling out for help.
And I think it's easier here, particularly in Canada, to be we're not as bad as down south because we have gun control, because our cops have all sorts of blah blah blah. But that doesn't get rid of the inherent systemic racism, right? It's just that it gets controlled because we have gun laws and stuff like that.
And we don't talk about racism for black people in Canada enough. We talk about it in terms of Aboriginal people, which absolutely needs to be heard and be said, and that is where a majority of it is, but we do not talk about the other communities because it's not as
Yeah.
present
No.
when it is present.
Well,
it's just passive aggressive.
I think if I understood correctly, we abolished slavery a lot earlier than the States.
We did.
And we didn't have Jim Crow era laws
Well,
as bad.
The Underground Railroad went from the States to Canada because Canada was slavery
So, like,
free.
I'm sure that from a political standpoint, Canada's always been more on the left-leaning side compared to the States.
Yeah.
Which doesn't surprise me.
However,
No, it does surprise me a bit, but that's...
Yeah, but it still exists. It's still in our system.
Yeah, it's not a problem, it's just...
And it's just, we don't talk about it enough. We talk about the one that is very apparent and still needs to be dealt with, which
Yeah.
absolutely does matter, absolutely does need to be dealt with. It's just there are other communities that are also dealing with it. It's just at a smaller scale than compared to the U.S.
Well, so, if I may posit my personal opinion on why it's not as bad as the U.S., or it's not as dangerous, I will say. We have less of a mortality rate overall when it comes to violent crimes in Canada because there's more control over how you can get access to weaponry and how it's controlled. So, like, as a
Yeah,
cop,
we have more blue collar.
if I'm gonna put myself into, like, corruption and stuff, if I'm gonna put myself into the shoes of a policeman who's on the job, there's a hugely less chance that that person who I'm dealing with has a weapon that will hurt me in a significant way.
Yeah.
Can you have a knife? Sure. Can you have a gun? Possibly. Is it gonna happen on a bigger is it gonna happen as often as it will in the States? No. Here it's a surprise if someone pulls out a firearm.
Yeah.
In the States, you probably function off the assumption that everybody has a firearm. on
We
them.
have higher stabbings than the States does.
Yeah, because that's the only weapon people can get their hands on them.
Yeah. And even then, we have controlling laws around that.
We do. You can't walk around with an unsheathed sword or an
Yeah.
unsheathed knife.
Mhm.
You have to keep it.
I remember my
legally,
first.
like-
I had a switch knife when I was younger, and I was in high school, and it was for my safety because things were tense at
Yeah.
the time. And
I don't
like
think that's the right way to deal with.
no, we had gangs and people were dying.
Yeah, but
Um,
anyway.
and like
Yeah, the
I
idealist
was
in
also
me is,
working late, and I was doing musical theater late at night, so I was walking around really late at night when the killings were happening and when the shootings were happening, because that did happen for a while.
Yeah, you mentioned a few times, I think.
And I remember learning that I couldn't actually have it. And what's funny is that my switch knife was actually just for camping. It was a camping
Yeah, I have one
switch
of those.
knife.
The like Swiss knives. That, like,
Yeah.
Well, you had the yeah.
I had that, and it also had like a screwdriver, and it had like spoon. It was
I
a
mean,
couple
like,
of different
I had a
things for
switch
camping.
knife for camping too. I don't think I walked around.
I carried it with my because I did camping and a lot of camping stuff. I carried it with my keys. So when I learned, because me and some friends were talking about it, that I can't have this, I got rid of it.
From a
I-
legal standpoint here, you can't even have like a replica weapon from
Yeah.
a convention with like for more time than it takes you to get to your car.
Yeah, well, like, and I had a coworker who told me like she's super nervous in the neighborhood, like recently in recent years, tell me like she carries her X-Acto blade in her pocket just in case because she's nervous.
Oh man, my
At
ex used to
night.
do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I had to tell her you can't do that.
that's illegal. Yeah.
It's illegal. You can't do that. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I know it's your work equipment, but you cannot. You
It's
have
a-
to have it in your bag, and you have to have it.
It's a
you have to
bladed
have it
weapon, yeah.
closed. It's a bladed weapon. But what you can, and so like I actually got in trouble for taking too long on that conversation. But I'm like, that was a conversation that needed to happen.
I am stopping your employee from getting arrested.
Yeah, and so like we looked up what she was actually allowed to use to defend herself because she was also an immigrant, so she didn't know.
Oh, yeah, that's all.
So I
Sorry.
looked up what she was allowed to use and what she wasn't allowed to use, and she's like, but none of that can actually keep me safe. Because we looked up
See,
what
in
she
an
could
ideal
use.
society, you're not supposed to have to keep yourself safe, right?
Yeah, and she's like, none of this would keep me safe. I feel safer with the X-Acto blade. I'm like, unfortunately, that could get you arrested. And for her, that meant she could be deported as well.
Yep.
And so she was like, okay, well, I want to finish school, and I want to keep working. I will take this to heart, and I will make sure.
Why are you bringing the box cutter with you? Like, leave it at home. Leave it at work or something.
She was traveling back and forth because, like, some of us just accidentally travel back and forth with it. I know I
Oh,
brought
don't get me
home
wrong. I
mine.
understand people bringing box cutters home all the time. Like I said, my ex and a bunch of her coworkers would, like, bring all the freaking box cutters home by accident. They'll be like, oh, in my apron. And then they'll get home and they're like, oh, I have to wash my apron. Why is there a box cutter in it? And
Yeah.
one of her coworkers had, like, 3 of them that way.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I never brought the other one back. Like,
I still have mine from Walmart, and that's now sitting in my locker at work along with my other ones because I actively started. I sometimes come home with it, but I was always worried about little Witcher touching it, so I
don't
would
got box
leave it in
cutters
my
where I'm from.
locker.
They would give everybody box cutters, and when I started working at my job, they did not give me a box cutter. I asked for a box cutter because we did stuff at night, and they were like, nah, only the merchandisers get box cutters. I'm like, but I want a box cutter. It's like a tiny little... And I was like, well, no box cutter for me, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's actually an X-Acto blade is what we use.
That's the box cutter.
Well, there's different forms of it, but yeah.
You have the one that has, like...
Yeah, which is also used for art.
Yeah, that's a... I mean, they're called...
It's an X-Acto blade.
It's a box cutter, too. That's the same thing.
The technical terminology is an X-Acto blade.
I thought that was a... I think X-Acto is a brand.
No.
Okay. Because, like, and the way that the box cutters we use are kind of odd, too. They're, like, little rectangular guys, and, like, when you see that it's dull, you just kind of snap off the tip and you push it up, right? Which I think is what you're supposed to do with
Still.
literally all of them.
Those are the breakable ones.
Well, you know how they all have, like, notches in them?
Not all of them have notches. That's the thing, is, like, at my work, we're not allowed to have those. And actually, it's a rule in that province is that unless you're doing artwork...
I said you snap off the tip. I've never seen someone do it, so I'm not sure.
My mom had one that had the notches that you'd snap it off, and when it got dull, she would literally hold it and snap it off.
I feel like it's just dangerous because you're asking people, like, to snap a metal thing, and what if,
It
like...
is very dangerous. My mom would not let us touch it for, like, years.
It's a blade, you shouldn't, but...
No. And my mom learned how to do it properly because one side's dulled. So if you're holding it on the dull side and then holding it on the top where it's also not sharp, then you can snap it off. But and with the ones that we use, they're a single piece of metal with a hole in the middle, and then we just flip it over, and then once both sides were dull, we got a new one.
I think I do vaguely remember saying that they showed us how to snap it off at work, because, like, you use a glove, you hold the blade, and you put it over the blade, and just...
Yeah. There's a way of properly snapping it. Anyways, your tier list.
Oh my god. I did it. It's done.
You did it hours ago, and we've just...
An hour ago.
An hour ago. Like, that's gone from 18 hours to 19 from us just talking.
Alright, my tier list is pretty simple, alright? Spoilers, 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 spoilers. I'm joking.
Okay.
But no, I like Raven. I think he's a goofy old man. He could do with a little... Actually, he's not as pervy as some of the other characters I've dealt with are, so I don't mind him that much. I think he's top tier because he has a nice storyline and a nice little characterization, which, again, I said spoilers. Like, he's kind of like... How do I say this? Like, you learn things about Raven the same way you learn things about Sheena or Kratos or, like, Malik or whatever, right?
I like those characters.
Or Alvin. Like, literally...
These are all characters I like.
So Raven...
Raven's gonna move in my tier list eventually.
I know, it's up to, I think he might. At least up a rank, maybe.
Maybe.
Like, I like him a lot. I like where his story ends up going because... Yep. Because I can't get into it 19 hours into the game. But, yeah. And then Estelle... Why did I put her at A rank? I think I like her characterization because it's good character growth in the way that she's obviously learning more about the world. She's also the only person we've met so far that can cast arts without Blastia.
You realize when you do your tier list, it's more in depth, and when I do it, it's very superficial.
Yes.
Because I'm
correct. I'm being a bit more critical.
Yeah, you're a bit more critical, and I'm like, do I like the character or do I not?
Which is fine. There's 2 ways of doing it, but this is the way I think. Yuri, I think, is a... I think he's a really good character, especially when you match him with Flynn. Like, Yuri... I like to say he's the edgiest Tales protagonist, and there's some competition, alright? Yeah. But I think that in terms of the story they're trying to write, it's very good. His position in it is solid. Rita is good to me because Rita represents another character that kind of, like, she wasn't as
She's a Cinderella.
yes, she wasn't as I don't know, because she's a tsundere to
She's a
the people she doesn't have a crush on, quote unquote.
No, she's well, yeah, but she's a Cinderella.
I think she's just emotionally stunted, and it's
Yeah.
tied to her characterization as like someone who's unlike Estelle, who was sheltered because of her position. Rita sheltered herself as a kind of a hermit because the way that she thinks and acts doesn't fit into the way that the rest of the people from Ospio act.
I feel like it's her, like she sheltered herself because it was her way of protecting herself and coping. That people thought she was odd and didn't like her.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. She's like kind of a social outcast, like a lot of our characters tend to be actually in this game. Kind of like
She's just an awkward fellow.
I was gonna say it's kind of like reflective of Persona 5 because in Persona 5 they purposely tell you how everyone's kind of like shoved out of society, but in this case, they're a little more subtle about it. Whereas like Rita's outside of society because she eventually ends up actually she's probably one of the best like mages around, and it's kind of odd because the reason she did this is her affection towards the Blastia more than the people. Which really comes off as like a hyperfixation to me, but I think that her characterization is really good because then when she meets Yuri and them, she actually starts liking certain people for the fact that they are people that accept her as well. Like
Yeah.
they don't see it that weirdly that she really likes Blastia. They're just kind of like, man, this is the genius we got here, and that's the reason that we can trust her with Blastia. We understand that she will understand it better than everybody else. So yes, I like her as a top. Judith. I think we've seen most of the twists in her story by now. I like her. I just think that, like you said, she's kind of like too similar to... Being too similar to Yuri in this case feels like they could have done better with her character. I don't hate the fact that she's very much like Yuri, but, like, the female version. I just think that, like, it's a little odd.
I think what it basically is it's Estelle and Yuri. They're two different Yuri and Flynn versing each other, like their point of views, versus Judith and Rita's point of views. Also, iced tea. Sorry, this is my ADHD clashing with yours.
I'll take one.
Like, because her and Rita are both on extreme ends.
Yeah, but like
in terms of
where
Blastia.
Flynn is Yuri's foil because they are quite literally the same type of character, right? They learned swordplay the same way, and they chose to evolve it in their own personality and their own skills a different way. Judith and Rita oppose themselves exactly only on the point of Blastia.
That's true.
Like, from any other philosophical standpoint...
And also how they talk to Estelle.
No, I don't think Rita, like that would imply
Rita doesn't like how Judith talks to her.
No, but that would imply that Rita, like, walks on eggshells around Estelle or tries to spare her feelings. And really, I don't think Rita has the emotional range to understand when what she says is going to hurt somebody, which is like... Well, okay, I guess you could say that's quite an opposite, because Judith is very meticulous with her choice of words. And she looks aloof and kind of goofy sometimes in the way that she speaks to others with like or... What, did I do something that would hurt you guys? No, that's what I said. But she's very clearly concise in what she's telling each individual character. When she's speaking to Yuri, she's like, why are you on my side? Why are you helping me? Okay, I get it. I see where we stand, etc. When she talks to Estelle, she is the first character who will go, you are currently being a princess.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Right? So,
she likes calling her out.
yeah. So I think that you're right. And maybe it's something I hadn't seen, but I think you're right. She's kind of like a foil to Rita. And I think that in that case, making Rita less of a warrior and more of a mage and Judith the opposite makes sense too. They just put them at complete opposites.
Well, and Judith, they've made a point of saying that Judith's race are more of the scholarly type.
The Critian, yes. And that's how Judith fits into the we're beginning kind of the outcasts like scenario. But what I think knocks Judith down is we do not get enough Critians to justify that thought process.
Yeah.
We don't see any important Critians, to my memory, in the video game. I might be wrong. We might see like one or two later on. But we've heard from Yuri and other characters that are not Critian. Aren't Critians more scholarly? Yeah, I just like not being scholarly. Oh,
Well,
okay.
And we saw at least one Critian after we met Judith, who's like, I came here to do research, but I can't go through the mountain pass.
But that was an NPC that was there to tell us where to go next, right? I don't even think that was a forced cutscene.
No,
That was
she
just
wa-
one guy we talked to.
No, yeah, it was one guy we talked to, and he didn't even tell us where we needed to go. He
Yep.
just told us that the mountain
So,
pass
like,
was closed.
We see the Critians dotted around, and I think that the biggest shame is that this is one of the rare Tales games where we see people of other, like, more people of other races. Because, like, in Symphonia, we see elves and half-elves, but we see one village of elves, and we see half-elves. It was better dealt with here as a difference than to the Critians, and I think they wanted to, separate the Critians to the elves, because the elves were a major plot point in Tales of Symphonia, whereas they're not dealing with the racism of this world. They're dealing
Yeah.
with the status disparity, if you will.
Yeah.
So I understand why they did it. I just think that it's a shame that then therefore the Critians kind of like take a sidebar when they make a Critian one of our playable characters.
I think they could have, like, I don't know if we're actually going to go to, like, a town that's focused around them or not, but I think they could have probably done an entire continent where it was primarily these people walking around, and just, like, they didn't have to talk about the racism aspect of it. It could have been that this continent, this is where they primarily are, and you just see them walking around and living their lives.
Yeah, you're right. They could have done that, and I don't even want them to talk about the racism aspect. We don't seem to have a racism problem in this game,
Yeah.
right? What I think the issue is, it's just that we went out of our way to make a separate race that is not the race of most of these characters.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah, it's kind of...
Why did we make a separate race except to make it fantasy?
And, like, I don't like it when they do that, because then it's like they're underplaying there was so much possibility there.
Yeah, that's
And now it's being
like
underplayed.
we get some cultural differences, but it seems that Critians have kind of integrated into the world without any problems. So like there's no clashing of the cultures, which isn't something I want necessarily. It's just that to have two different cultures, it seems more like the game is showing us each town has its own culture instead of each culture is a different culture, right?
Which is very true. Each town, like, has its own subculture.
Yeah, I just could have done that without putting pointy ears and pointing out that some people are from a different race.
Yeah.
Right?
like,
But
they didn't
I
have to.
forget the next sections of the games and a lot of the game myself, so it might be that they do end up showing us that the Critians function differently. Like, for some reason, Judith seems to be the only person who knows about the talking monsters, which
Yeah.
might be a Critian thing. I forget. I think that just making Critians and then not giving them a distinct enough identity as a people feels like a disservice to them. So she's in B tier, high B tier instead of like low A. Rapide, unfortunately, has no character arc, so he's gonna be stuck there for the rest of ever because he's funny, but only in the way that he can be funny or fun around other characters. His personality, like I said to Ada earlier, depends on other characters being present. Otherwise, he's just kind of
I mean, he's only high on my list
the
because
cool
he's a
dog.
dog.
Yeah, he's just a cool dog. And B isn't a bad tier. It's just he's just a cool dog, and he doesn't have a character arc.
Yeah.
He's a part playable character too, and I don't know if they ever explain why Rapide is Rapide instead of just another dog, but he's there. Patty definitely suffers from being the last character they added into the game. She has a bit of a character arc, but it's not huge. It's not relevant because, well, it's not relevant. It's only as relevant as it can be for something that was added afterwards when the game was complete and re-released, which really sucks. But that's why she's in B tier and not higher. I
'cause
like
she
her
was
as a
added
character.
later.
She's funny. She just feels like an afterthought.
Yeah.
Flynn, ironically, is lower than her. He's a good foil for Yuri. But other than that, he's just another one of the Asbel style characters in a world that does not like Asbel style characters.
That might be why I like this game.
Because it doesn't like Asbel style.
I really did not like Asbel.
And sweet Carol gets kicked into the C tier because I just don't like the pathetic way that he acts most of the time. It gets better, obviously. His character arc is going to be to get better into that, but I don't like the way he plays. I don't really care much for his character arc. I think that, sure, he's their guild leader now, but unofficially everybody's kind of like, Yuri's the guild leader, you know?
Yeah. Isn't Nan supposed to join their party? You're not saying it. Just because I remember seeing her on the title screen.
She was in the intro sequence.
No, I remember seeing her standing with the others
Hmm.
on the cover art on the title screen. Like, not the title screen, the cover art on the PlayStation.
Oh.
Because I saw her and I went, hey, I know you. You're supposed to be in the party eventually.
So, yeah. That's my tier list. I think that, again, it's not one of my favorite casts, but I spent
It's better than the video cast.
so much time with this game. Oh, encounter link lit. The game was like, stop yapping, dog.
But I am going to pause because, like, you're not ready and we're not viewing it.
I'm good. I'm pressing the buttons. Also, we aren't viewing it. Correct. There we go. Get this out of here. We are now viewing it. Oh, wait. Burst start time. Die. Die. I'll do it again.
I don't think you have enough.
I don't. I think I. Oh, I just stopped her from eating. Oh, too bad.
Yeah, I've been stopping her from using a melon gel this entire time.
She was trying to poison ball it.
Oh,
Maybe I can heal you.
Then do it, cause you're dead.
yeah. Well, she used it on herself, so that's good.
She didn't have it.
Yeah, she did. She was poisoned. Both me and her were poisoned.
No, Judith and you were poisoned, not Estelle.
Yeah, and Judith was the one throwing the bottle.
But Estelle was trying to cast recover on you.
Oh, I saw the bottle.
Whoa, a penis!
Oh, he learned all of it.
You know what that means.
Equipment change. And he has a bunch of equipment, if I recall.
Oh, he didn't learn all of it. That was his bag.
Oh, I don't have another bag for him.
I am
Oh, the diet timeline.
We're seriously gonna starve.
Save your energy, Carol. You'll just make yourself hungrier.
Child.
Short stomachs make short graces, Carol.
What is that?
Graces!
It means hunger can make you rude, and that leads to angry people attacking you with sharp things.
I think you're a little off. But whatever, Yuri and Rita seem to be pretty calm despite not having eaten in a while.
I'm used to it.
Uh-huh.
Ah, there's a delicious steak right on top of Repeat's bed.
Oh no, she's hallucinating.
It's a trap. Don't succumb to temptation.
Maybe we should do something about this.
Yuri! Yuri! I found a green piece of veggie bread in my bag. I can eat
Buddy,
it,
that's
right?
mold.
Right?
What the? No, Carol, don't! Seriously, this is getting dangerous. Let's eat something already.
Starving yourself does not help. Your body goes into fat stockpile mode.
This looks tasty.
That was funny. Just the two of them immediately. I'm used to it.
Yuri's broke and Rita doesn't eat for days on end.
Yeah.
The cry of victory.
Oh,
Combo play.
that might be the last skill on his blue dragon sword.
Is it?
Maybe.
It is.
Yup.
Done.
He's
done,
so heavily behind too. Like,
Done.
no, he's not done as stock.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, and I can't go back and get back steps, so like I'm screwed.
Eventually, we'll be able to fly.
Eventually, we'll go backwards and get it. Okay, let's see. I'm supposed to be tracking this guy.
We should have rested at the end.
Well, we were like pretty decent. I thought you rested at the end before we.
Nah, look at our TP. We're doing pretty harsh.
Yeah, that's true. I thought you had rested before you saved.
I thought we rested too. 'Cause we did a couple cutscenes and a lot of stuff happened in town. But
We might have said we'd rest when we started the next one.
that's possible.
Oh man, I've been craving this game all week.
Craving.
Yeah, I've also been wanting to play as Tails.
So you're charging the DS?
Yeah. I saw the charger after. My poor dog was just lying down on his blankets, and he accidentally touches, like, with his foot in his sleep, the door, and it moves a little bit, and he immediately shoots up and runs away.
Your dog's a goober.
The poor guy. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry.
What a gobert.
And it's just because he's not used to the door being open.
It's been open for weeks.
Yeah. But he normally doesn't lie down there anymore. He lies down elsewhere.
Look at that man just dancing away.
Here I thought all we'd be doing at the Coliseum was beating bad guys. Now things have gone and gotten complicated.
I certainly didn't think we'd be seeing Flynn here.
Not
Not to
Flynn.
mention that Zoggy guy.
No, yeah, him.
And that runaway coward, Regay, too.
Regay.
Can't be a coincidence, not with them all here at once.
If it is a coincidence, it's the worst one I've ever heard of. Just how
I
bad
love how
could
this
luck
group,
be?
like, didn't even set out
The ones
to
calling the shots this time?
get involved
Thinking
with
things
these
through
guys.
is
They
all
just
well and
did it
good, but we don't want the case to drop.
by happenstance.
That what usually happens in these games.
Talking later.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, in Symphonia, less so. Like, they actively sought it out in Symphonia.
I mean, they had to take out the designs.
Yeah. So, like, they were actively looking for it.
Yeah, but that was a Chosen One storyline.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that makes sense too, because it's like it's a Chosen One concept.
Like, they set it up very clearly that, like, you are going to be dealing with these people right off the bat.
Yeah. And that's the difference. It's like, oh, we stumble into it, or
They stumbled into the greater plot, though.
yeah. Well, it's either you're set out on a quest, and like that quest is like a noble one, and it's like a chosen like story, or it's you stumble into it right away, and then you just happen to be involved in it going forward.
That's Jude from Zilly.
Yeah. Jude, quite.
It's like, whoa, that
literally.
person is walking on water. Let me go see what she's up to.
Oh, she's
Bam.
gonna kill me. I'm gonna keep following her.
Step on me, mommy. Kink is showing.
Man, when they talked about it in the second game, and they were like, "Remember when you tried to kill me?" And then instantly the main character's like, "What?"
What?
And they're just laughing about it. They're like, "Oh yeah, it's not a big deal." And it's like, "No, you almost tried to kill him."
Yeah, that sounds pretty bad.
Like, wait a minute. Is this the mountain pass or is this the mountain pass? That looks more like a forest with mountain pass in it. This looks like going around the mountains.
There's more mountains down that way.
I don't know. Oh, that's a mountain pass. That's totally a mountain pass. Secret tunnel!
Not so secret.
No sign of him so far. Do you think he went this way?
Maybe he used this to get through to the other side of the mountain.
But this cave is the Weasand of Kodos. A powerful monster called Terrapus lives here.
What an awful name.
Really dangerous.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what Nan told me.
Perhaps he went inside without knowing.
Freaking yesterday with you with Long Pteranodon. I'm like, my brain actually had to stop and go, which dinosaur is he meaning? Because there are so many that could be Pteranodon.
No, I said long Tyranno.
Long Tyranno, yeah. I was like, which one?
Tyranno.
I actually turned around. I muted my mic, turned around, and went, do you mean Tyrannosaurus Rex? And
Yeah.
he was like, yeah.
Long Tyranno.
We nearly killed our DM.
Poor guy.
Please, let me go.
Looks like he was hiding out here hoping we'd just pass him by.
Didn't account for the repeat.
Yep.
Let's have a nice long chat.
What were you trying to gain, setting us up like that back at the Coliseum?
And give back that case!
You leave me no choice.
Oh no.
Red eyes.
His claw?
Aw, they stopped calling them red eyes.
Well, they know who they are now.
Man, could you
But red eyes was so much cooler.
It's also so generic.
Yeah. Yeah, I almost donated $100 today
To what?
to my ExtraLife.
You're on? Your own, yeah.
Yeah, well, I considered doing it to yours, and I'm like, I should do it to mine. And then I realized something.
What?
If I donate $100, like, that's great and all, and, like, I'd love to donate. But that $100 could have needed for other things,
Yeah.
like mental health.
Yeah.
Realizing I might want to be a mental health advocate.
You are a mental health advocate. Do you mean an advisor? Someone that helps out, like a therapist?
Mm-hmm.
These guys are all over
Or pushes for funding towards it, tries to fix it.
Oh, you mean like as a streamer?
No. No, I mean, like, trying to deal with the system.
Guess this means Ruinsgate and Leviathan's Claw
Make
are
the system
connected.
better. But
So they
I'm not
pretend
sure.
to help with the excavations, then swipe materials and sell them later, huh? I'll
Yeah.
make them pay, I swear.
How could a guild as famous and renowned as Ruins Gate do something like that? Judith, wait!
He'll get away if we don't hurry.
I just realized she has feathers in her hair.
Yep.
Remember what I said?
Well,
There's a
I thought they
really
were, like,
nasty
a
wall
part of her
happening in
head.
there.
I'm realizing that, no, they're just added
you
to
know
her
little blue
hair.
things?
Hey,
Yeah.
what do you say we call it a
I know
day?
they're feathers, but...
Old Raven can't afford to get too far from Nordopolica without getting this letter to Bellius. The Don'll hit me with another one of his thankless jobs otherwise.
Well, I'm going after him.
We don't have a
Can't
choice, Raven.
let somebody like that just do whatever with the Blastia he takes from the ruins. And I'm gonna get that case back, too. I'm going too. What are you talking about? You're staying put here. I'm not.
No!
Well, this doesn't sound like something Brave Asperia can very well pass up.
Yeah. It's our job to protect Estelle.
If we all
How many jobs do they have again?
2. Yeah, 2. Well, 1 now.
So
Shouldn't
Raven's
it be
gonna
all
leave.
right without the great Raven?
I think so. Good luck delivering the letter.
Jeez, aren't you even gonna try to stop me from leaving?
No.
No, because
Also, he's not gone. We didn't get the Raven leaves the party message.
yeah.
don't get cocky.
Bear?
Well, because his other job is that he's supposed to watch over Estelle.
For who?
The Dawn.
Yes, I think you're right.
Because he realized that she was an Imperial candidate.
Something like that, yeah. Judy, do what everybody else does and just attack.
Let's go.
Well, she was trying to do a Melagin jail earlier, and Estelle was at 0 MP.
No, but she doesn't have item thrower.
Yeah, that's true. You'd be willing to get me an iced tea.
You just got yourself a nice tea.
Yeah, it's gone.
No.
I have to go to the bathroom anyways. Here, you will play.
Hey, this is the perfect time to talk about ExtraLife. ExtraLife is a charity organization that raises funds for children's medical programs in hospitals across all of North America. You can donate to ExtraLife by typing an exclamation mark ExtraLife to my Twitch chat, as I've done twice already today. And if you donate more, $20 or more, you can choose a game that we will add to our 24-hour lineup. 24-hour just stream lineup. Excuse me, on November 2nd. That's right, on November 2nd, we're doing a 24... I am, sorry, I say we, me. I'm doing a 24-hour stream for ExtraLife to raise funds and awareness of the organization itself so that we can help more kids across all of America. I can't wait to do that, man. I'm so tired all the time after it, but it's so fulfilling. We hit our goal last year. It was a $500 goal. So we busted that and headed to $650 as our goal this year, or $1,000 as usual for our team goal, I believe. Or it might be $1,250. Anyway. Yeah, so I'd love to hit the goal again this year. So if you can, share the word and donate. It's the best thing you could possibly do. It'll make me big happy. And if you do so before the stream itself, that's when you get to add a game. Alright? Alright. Because otherwise it's kind of hard to get my hands on the game while I'm streaming for 24 hours. I'm not going to IRL stream myself. I don't need to put that kind of, like, eyes on me. Alright, let's see. Hey, Ada, how you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Where'd you go? Abisu streaming. There's a lot of people streaming. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my good knees. Way to skip this path here. You were here this morning? Oh yeah, true. You thought I was gonna kick you out of the room. Oh well, you meant the stream. Yes, true. Stop trying to eat my... She used it. Melon gel, too, of all things. Can you use, like, an orange gel or a pineapple gel? Sorry, pineapple gives healing, I think. Is it grape gel? Oh, grape gel's just a better pineapple gel. Yeah! Alright, we can switch out that trash weapon. Let's go. .604. Oh no. This is fine, we already know that. 619, 604, 531. So Crescent Axe is his worst one. She hasn't used the S-Stock one yet. Okay. Oh, I should have changed that a while ago. Oh, he's got new weapons, yeah.
Do me a favor.
What?
Switch the phones.
But my phone needs to charge.
That one's Little Witcher's.
Okay, so this can charge during the night.
Okay.
Mine's at like 2%. It's gonna last another half an hour. Survive! Oh, you're the joke. Okay, she's fine. Hydronomos is fine. Normal size bag, fine.
Hey, it charged quite a bit.
It's the lowest attack power here. Variable age. Alright, and then we're gonna swap this. Nope. Make him semi-auto.
Yeah, I opened up my first can and I just finished it.
You slammed that bad boy.
I was thirsty. And honestly, I was feeling a little nauseous, so
I don't see how iced tea would help with that, but okay.
sometimes I just need to put something in my stomach.
We just had dinner.
Yeah, and I ate seafood for the first time ever.
Ever's not true, but okay.
The only other seafood I ever had was
Salmon.
shrimp. Salmon is technically fish, not seafood.
That's... Why not
It's a freshwater food. It's a freshwater fish.
Just because you're right doesn't mean you have to say it.
The hell?
What?
You saw that, right?
No?
I put it down and then it went hoo, 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 hoo. I was like, what the fuck?
Turbo Granny? Yeah, you missed the treasure earlier, huh?
No.
Yep, that one.
Oh. Oh, I wanted to show you. I got that and that. I'm gonna fix that.
Mickey Mouse ears?
No. Raw.
Oh.
Bro, I can wear with strapless stuff.
Don't get cocky.
Yo, Estelle telling people not to get cocky is pretty funny, though.
Well, Yuri just said, or can we get any weaker?
Yeah. Look at what...
Fell, didn't it?
What?
The light. It fell, didn't it?
Oh, maybe.
I
I moved it around by accident by opening the case earlier. Because I was like, ooh, you know what my son would love? Amiibos.
He came down all sneaky about it, too. It was funny.
I mean, I guess. We already have Mighty Guard, I think, but you can check. That's usually for Raven or one of the girls. Yep, we already got two of them.
It was cute. I was like, can you please just tell me what you're doing? And he was like, no.
I told you, you just didn't hear me.
All I kept hearing was,
Yeah, I told you, like, you get the amiibo. Is Estelle still not allowed to use items?
Victory!
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
I think so.
It'd be in strategy, I think. Never mind. I've got no clue. No, I stopped her from using first aid for a bit. That's what happened. Okay. Not items.
Somebody got banned from using items.
No, it was first aid. I was hoping she'd do recover, remember, early on. I don't think you can stop them from using items, all things considered.
What was it? It was one of the skills. Oh, skills.
Oh, what does Athenor do?
Item thrower. We took it off of somebody.
What does Athenor do? Up one, yeah. Yo, do that.
Okay.
She gets a new art. She's already got that equipped thanks to her level, her thing. You can heal by taunting during overlimit. Thanks! Burst force. Everything she can equip is equipped. Lit. This is my taunt. Get it?
Ah. We took it off him.
No, he's just learning it now.
He could throw it originally, couldn't he?
No, we thought so because he had the bag, but I guess not.
I remember us going, you were not allowed to have items anymore.
Yeah, but we couldn't. I don't remember how to do that, so I don't think we were able to. 2 points. Blech.
I just realized I didn't actually look at anybody's points.
They're fine. Most of them can't equip anything new. Except Raven, you can give him Hunter. Yeah. Hello, friend!
This looks easy.
Don't get careless.
I'm saving the overlimit for that fight. Hey Estelle, how about you stop wasting your TP? It's a mushroom on another mushroom.
Yeah, I feel good.
It just turns around. Would you show to me? This is definitely no regular monster. Sometimes it's better to run when it gets too much. Ah, it's just boss level, it's fine.
It's not that bad. Although it still needs some fucking MP.
She's got like a million of it.
She's in the 70s.
Yeah, she started the fight off in 50, I thought. Oh, I wasted that fatal strike, okay. I'm gonna back up now. Yay, not dead yet. Let's go. Okay.
Why am I...
Ah! What does it mean? This is in Final Fantasy VI, you can't just decide to block. Or do we need to? Oh, okay. I don't like this angle if I'm being honest. Oh!
Ah!
Yeah, I'm gonna give her a...
Yeah, I blocked on time.
Yeah, why not use this then, you nerds? Not you.
Yeah, because they could use a pineapple gel, but they keep going for like the highest.
For the melons gel, they use the mixed one for some reason. Double nerds? Okay, enough. Thank you. Now you can use first aid. That is an option too, you know. No, look.
Life bottle.
Yeah, she's gonna use one on me. Oh, you're saying a run?
Oh! No, that was an accident. Thank you for having confidence in me, though. For having seen that. I didn't even realize you were dead. I just knew I was still alive and I could attack.
There's Nurse again. How's it doing? 29,000. Just wanna... Estelle's completely out of TP.
Yeah, she's been doing nurse the entire time.
Oh, I didn't steal. Trash. Stop trying to... I'm the goofer who keeps pressing the steal button. Pineapple jet? Now you're using pineapple? Okay.
On herself.
Oh, she's not gonna toss it. Somebody's... Get it! How much does that do? Not enough. That's fine, because I got this. Dang. It's okay, I can do it again. And again. Die. Die. 4,000. No, I'm out of TP. Oh, that's this
Yeah, I'm trying to build up my TB.
Oh, what an annoying monster. It's dead.
Yay.
Just beat him senseless and you'll win.
Look at that grade. Look at that XP.
I'm not done yet.
Oh, baby.
Oh, I feel so. Ooh, that's sad.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to look at their equipment again.
Yep.
We didn't even have optimal equipment here.
Nope.
He's fine there. What about Defender? Okay, he can keep that. I don't think I have another weapon for me. She can change. That was it. So just give her the best thing. Okay. Hasn't learned the best. That's new, so that's fine. That's new. Give her the worst thing? Oh, she already has it. That's fine. No, give her that, yeah. Did she fully learn? No, she didn't. Okay, so you swapped. You didn't swap. Good. Sweet. That's fine. He just switched. He doesn't have any secondary effect. Yeah, no. Okay.
That was a pretty strong monster, but I guess we're done.
I guess we're done? Come on! We just defeated that gigantic monster!
It was in
Calm
fact pretty
down,
big.
Carol. Pull yourself together.
Come on, Yuri! You can at least be a little bit happy! Huh? What's the matter, Estelle? Why are you sitting?
How can both of you take it so easily?
What? Did you get scared, Estelle?
That huge monster. I was so nervous.
She was in the back line the whole time.
You were doing just fine while we were fighting.
But if I got like this during battle, I'd end up causing trouble for everybody.
But she
Don't
didn't.
worry about it, Estelle. Here, let me give you a hand.
I'm sorry.
There we go. Now, who do we get to fight next? Bring 'em on, right?
I'd rather have nobody be next.
Huh? Hey, Yuri. You're really ready for another fight, aren't you?
I got his blood pumping. He's like, yes, it's time for murder.
Here we go.
I mean, self-defense.
Have an idea.
She's just learning ability after ability.
Well, she hasn't learned a new ability in a while, but that's probably because she leveled up.
She's been fighting the entire time, like since we got her in the party, and I accidentally did that XP.
Yeah, she learned a few, but for the last like 4 or 5 fights, she didn't learn anything. So it's been a while. She really only learned that because she leveled up from that fight, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, see, she also got a new one.
Yeah.
The sign of victory.
Yeah,
Yay!
you got pretty good.
She does high fives with everybody.
Yep, except Pete.
That's because Repeat doesn't like her.
It's because Pete's a dog.
And Repeat doesn't like her.
He's got the resound, oh cry of victory.
Don't get sloppy.
Yeah, and she does resound, oh cry, victory, and he doesn't.
Yeah, he's like, no.
She's like, aw.
Repeat's like, eat the rich.
Holy power, come
Is
to
he
me.
actually a dog?
I honestly don't remember.
Because I know Yuri is like, he's a dog, but he thinks he's human.
He acts like a human. No, he didn't say he thinks he's human. He said he believes himself above regular dogs. He has dignity to a certain level. Hence why he uses weapons and stuff. Hey. That's a pretty good. Physical defense. With Judith having the highest? Wow.
Yeah.
Could have fooled me. Yeah, they're hungry. We should eat. We got a bunch of ingredients. We could try to make some food, yeah.
Please have good cooking abilities.
She's a woman. Oh, she did it.
Yeah. Well, Estelle burns everything.
And Repeat makes dog food all the time.
Yeah, I almost did Repeat, and then your brother was like, no.
I thought it was a Twitch streamer. One of the Twitch chat.
Your brother mentioned. Well, somebody in the Twitch chat mentioned it, but your brother also mentioned it.
Okay.
He was standing right next to me. Where is it?
She makes dog food. Hey, Sage. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for what we just made.
We just ate it.
So that means we already got the boost.
Yes.
We don't have to actively eat it like another one.
I mean, no.
Okay, that's not a little.
I think Zillia is unique in the fact that it lets you keep it in your inventory, honestly. Oh, no, Grace's lets you keep it in your inventory, but it, yeah.
So does Symphonia. You don't
No,
cook it?
Symphonia cooks it at the end of a fight.
Oh, right. Whereas Grace's lets you have
You
it.
make the elf mixer thing happen, you can upgrade them.
I got no time to think.
Just
Yeah.
set this power.
Yeah,
Can you be ready at 8 tomorrow morning?
yeah.
Hey, a new weapon for... No, he's not done with his variable edge. So exciting!
My foot's asleep.
Wake it up.
Oh, it's twitching.
Who said phew?
Did you just
Stop.
hear something?
Right here.
It's Patty.
Oh.
Whoa. Wait, Patty? We meet again.
You sure pop up in the weirdest of places.
Yep.
Still looking for Ifried's treasure?
That I am.
Hey, what kind of treasure is it anyway?
Prepare to have your socks blown off. It's the Maristella.
What is that?
Sea Star?
I'm not sure.
How does you want to bet it's his family?
Wow, even our walking encyclopedia hasn't heard of it.
Thank you.
Out of Ifried's treasures, the Maristella is the most precious.
Well, has anyone found it yet?
They're
She's looking
called
for it. What do you
treasures
think?
Precisely because they're hard to find.
No, that's not what treasures mean.
Hey, I heard in Nordopolica that you're Ifried's granddaughter. Is that true?
Whoa, little lady, that's right. I wonder how the Don would react if he found out his sworn ally had a granddaughter.
Now that you mention it, the Dawn and Ifried were friends since before the union was formed, weren't they?
But hey, you're lying, right? About being Ifried's granddaughter.
Wow, Carol?
Never said anything about that before.
It's the
I have no proof.
What do you mean? I mean, I'm speculating. Estelle's asking why you would claim someone's your grandfather based on just speculation.
Why are you so aggressive?
Well, that's because I have amnesia. Amnesia?
Y'all never heard of amnesia before?
Then you don't know for sure whether you really are Ifried's granddaughter?
There's no doubt it's true. I think. Oh, come on.
Says
Make
the
up
most
your
doubtful
mind.
statement.
Which is it? Because I don't know. I'm searching for the Maristella because I don't know.
So basically, to get your memories back, you want to meet Ifried, a guy who might be your gramps. And to find him, you're looking for that Maristella treasure.
But
That sound
Mary's...
about
But Ifrey dead?
Someday I'll meet my grandpa.
I guess not.
But
On a more urgent subject, shouldn't we be going after the red box?
oh, right.
What are you giving me your foot for, ma'am?
Why are you following us? I was planning on going this way anyway. Then why
No
don't we
answer.
travel together? I'd like that.
You're giving them a free show.
Okay.
We could be charging for this.
Yeah, it could be.
This isn't like going
I could make
shopping,
money
you
off
know.
of it.
Why is it in my face?
Yeah, because I needed to get it up.
There are other places.
No, there isn't.
Yeah,
No.
behind us. Keep going.
I know that. If something happens, I'll help out.
Also, like, if you could just, like, poke at it.
Well,
I did.
helpful?
Doesn't seem to help.
No, it's no longer tingling, but it is definitely twitching.
I had thought that amnesia was only in stories.
Oh, it's only the girls.
It happens all the time. Get caught up in an explosion during a failed Blastia experiment.
Have you gotten amnesia before, Rita?
But losing all of your memories is pretty rare. It's a tragedy. That it is. Well, even if your past memories are gone, you can start creating new memories from now on. There's no need to be pessimistic. I see.
Pessim. I don't think they spelled that properly.
Mine's album with memories of Yuri. Yuri and more Yuri. Just thinking of it makes me shiver. I hope there might be a
My hip
room
cracked
for
and it
me
helped.
in there.
Estelle.
I think we can squeeze you into a corner somewhere.
Estelle's like, please don't just not remember me.
Sorry if I hurt you.
This is going to be a lot of combat, isn't it?
It's a dungeonator.
I love how our DM yesterday just lost it on us for just simply talking about dogs and cats and reptiles.
Because the conversation was hard to follow for him.
That was also stupid.
Probably didn't help.
Basically, we have a character who's like, but doesn't everyone, like, cats look like dogs, and then my character was like, no they don't, and somebody else was like, reptiles look like cats. I think I said the reptile looked like a cat.
You tried to counter him on like, does that look like a cat? And he was like, yeah.
Yeah. It was great.
It's good. Long Tyranno.
You lose.
Why are you fighting with an oar? Oh yeah.
And then at one point, like, they used grape juice from a good berry to, like, draw on my head. So when I woke up, I was like, why is it sticky?
Hmm.
Or
Good
why
word.
am I sticky?
Good word. Oh, even worse. Get him, repeat! Oh, that is an air. Crane.
What is that? Air? This is just like at Cape Mock. Is there an air crane here too?
What do we
You
do?
missed a treasure chest.
Charge right in.
I don't think so. Judith is right. Touching air that thick is dangerous.
I can't believe that something like that would save me.
Wait!
Ah, fool.
It looks like we'll have to keep our distance.
What's this talking.
A problem. Of course, it's from the sky. Hello.
It's the monster.
I think that's
Is that
Pharaoh,
the
isn't it?
monster you were talking about, Carol?
No, I've never seen a monster
That's not
like
Pharaoh.
that
He's different.
before.
No.
Has a similar face though.
Whoa!
Pete's tail.
It ate the air?
Apparently.
I can't. Oh no.
Looks like it might have absorbed some of the people's air too.
Yeah.
Hey, I can move.
You're not getting away again.
But Judith, Ada missed a treasure chest.
Rita, be careful.
No, I didn't.
He did.
No.
Yep.
No.
You can see in the angle, in the camera angle when it swaps.
Don't worry, it's not harmful at its current density.
What the hell just happened?
The monster we just saw somehow normalized the air crenny that was out of control. But that would mean that it can
He
control
opened
the
the two
air.
chests.
There's 3 crap.
Could it be the same thing that guy did with his sword back in Cave Mock?
Can we pass through it? Rita!
Oh, right. It should be okay. All right, charge! Patty, please be careful.
No.
What's the matter? I have to figure this out. I mean, this is what I'm traveling for.
Come on, Rita.
I know. We have to follow him, but I just...
That air cranny isn't exactly going anywhere, is it?
Of course not, you idiot. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, let's go.
All right. Carol, are you okay?
Yeah, peachy. No, really, I'm fine.
He's a child. See?
Oh, yeah, there is a third one.
That monster's power. Was that the Rhizomata Formula 2?
Riz? Can't believe you rizzed up the air crane.
Monster that consumes air? Just what was that creature?
It did seem different from other monsters somehow.
Yeah, that's for sure. It also looked like it was staring at us.
Maybe it was wondering which of us to eat first.
It looked into my eyes for quite a long time, actually.
No, you're the insipid
How nice
poison.
for you. You must have thought you looked the tastiest.
How much do you want to bet
I don't
that
think
she's
I'd
the one
call
that's
that
causing the
nice.
density problem?
See that?
Yes, I see it.
See
I
it.
couldn't see it before.
You see it?
It's something that's easy to miss. But I could have gotten it on the way back.
No. It's important. See, that's for Patty, who doesn't have any equipment right now. You're in the arts menu. She hasn't even learned that one yet. Ooh. Occasionally restores. Aquamarine reduces water damage. Great earned by 10 is nice. Not that she's in combat for us though.
Yeah.
Get 'em. We're gonna get to the... Are you getting close to your limit, man?
Oh, yeah. My hip's bucking me after it cracked.
Oh, you can save here, we can call it.
No, it's okay. I can go another half hour.
There's only 20 minutes left. I don't really mind at this point.
Okay.
Alright.
Alright.
Alright, after that fun conversation and then about an hour of gameplay, we are done for the night. Hope you folks enjoyed tonight's stream. As usual, Extra Life is there until the 1st of January. And then it'll be there until the 1st of January. And then it'll be there until the 1st of January. I think you get the pattern by now. Hope you folks have it. Yeah, I think I said that already. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for this week's almost final stream of Resident Evil 8. I think we're almost done the games, so we'll see how that goes. And then Ada and I should be back together on Tuesday next week, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Without further ado, folks, I hope you have a fantastic evening. Peace out.